Okay, sorry about the delay. As per usual, welcome to the Forbidden History Chronicles. You're here with NinjaCat 111 and Desert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel. And I just want to say g'day to Crystal. Thank you. Um, and yeah, tipping my hat to you as well. I love how you put that in there all the time. That's cool. Um, all right, it's what they didn't want you to know. And we'll get straight into the introduction. The signs of the times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time, who they are, and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were, and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, which are the Earth-based misnomered UFOs, which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. He can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. Desert discusses the ultimate in mind control, an ancient art, and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess, who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, and for experimentation, and in the end, they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it, but they are cleverly leaving us in the dark, hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water, to tainted vaccines, to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we most all are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was written by Desert Owl, who I'd like to welcome to the program. Just let me turn on your microphone, Desert. Won't be a second. Alrighty, g'day. How's it going? I was just thinking when I was reading that last paragraph how sobering that is. That's what came to mind. Yeah. Anyway, how are you? Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Your audio is not doing anything. Hang on a second. I don't know why I haven't touched it. I haven't done anything with it. I can hear you, but you're not showing up on the on the thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just checking. 1 second. Yeah, it was set to default, but so I don't know. I don't know. Uh, yeah. I'm just looking now. Yeah, it's set to default. Um, so I mean, it's always set to default for the desktop. So I don't know. I don't know. There we go. Maybe. Okay. Say something,
Testing,
Desert.
testing,
Yep, you're
testing.
back.
1, 2, 3. All
You're
right,
back.
we got it. All right,
Okay. Okay, good.
all right.
Right. Take two. How's it going, Desert?
It's going okay. Thank you. And hey there, Yo Shelly. Good to have you.
G'day,
And,
g'day, Eugenie. Yeah, that's where I went. Thank you.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so you've been reading the. You want to start with the Book of Jasher? You were reading that, and had some comments or questions on that.
We can start there, or I can put up the quickly just put up the clouds that I had in
All
my
right.
sky today, and then we
Okay.
can,
Well, then, yeah, we can do the propaganda
yeah, do that
about the
first.
skies first, because I wanted to mention also David Icke Rockefeller as well. So you go ahead, and then I'll jump in.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got to watch the rest of it as well. So yeah, I wrote a couple of
All right.
things down, a couple of his comments down. Actually, it's like whoa. Yeah. Um, I used to watch the guy, but yeah, I stopped. He was one of the first ones I came across when I first started watching YouTube. So anyway,
Yeah.
we'll put my clouds up. Um, I just got to go to the desktop. Please stand by, guys. Won't be a moment. Um, for those who don't know, they're hitting us with severe cold weather here at the moment, like extremely strong winds. I had to put the backyard back together after last night's shenanigans. Um, it was pretty bad. And the cold weather came up bottom center of the country and turned right, headed east, and that's pretty normal pattern. But the extreme is what's not normal. So yeah, South Australia, Victoria, and New South, the southern half of New South Wales got hit pretty bad the last day or two, and it's still going. It'll go on for the weekend, and it's absolutely freezing. Like really freezing. We're stuck in the house. We've got. I feel like we've got cabin fever. The cats are going berserk at the moment. So anyway, I'll stop rambling and show you my clouds. 1 second. I won't be able to see the chat for a minute. Hopefully you can see that. Um, I know there's a delay, so it'll show up in a second. I just took a couple of pictures. Yeah, blue. As soon as I looked out the window, I went straight out the front and took a couple of pictures. There's blue sky there. The sun is there, I think. I don't know. It was, yeah, it's in there somewhere. And that's northwest because the sun's really low. It like barely goes above that rooftop out the front. Um, yeah, it goes like that. Uh, and yeah, blue sky there. Because the wind is just so strong, the clouds are just flying across the sky. So we'll have instant blue sky and then bam, clouds again. So yeah, blue sky there, and these clouds here are the same, pretty much the same blue, except a little bit darker. But anyway, uh, that made me think of Dane Wigington's reports. I'm very close to the Antarctic, and uh, there's been a lot of weird stuff going on with the blue down there. And that one's a bit, can see it a bit better on that one. Thinking of the methane desert, is it the methane that makes the clouds blue?
I don't know what makes the clouds blue, Ninja, myself.
I'm sure
If
I
it's the
heard Dane
methane,
say it. Yeah.
okay, yeah. If that's the case, I didn't pick up on that, or I may have heard it and forgot.
Okay.
So that since methane is ignitable when it comes out of the ground, as we've seen pictures of it bubbling through the water, then blue, maybe the spectrum, that would tend to make a little bit of sense.
Yeah. See how
Flammable.
blue? That's so blue. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right. These words go through my head all the time when I see stuff like this. Don't forget to remember. Like if you remember when things looked natural when you were a kid, clouds didn't do that. They didn't turn bright blue. That was the color of the sky, not the clouds.
Yeah,
And there's another one, blue. So this is not normal. They're slamming us with the
yeah,
weather. Keywords. I can't even think of it now. Supercell cold front. They've used that, and blast. We're getting blasted. So yeah. So that was
hmm
my little presentation. Um,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Well,
Yeah.
well, talking about the skies. Then what happened is today I got up and as I was on the internet, then and reviewing any notices coming in, what have you. Then I saw there was an offer to watch David Icke, who is correctly David Icke Rockefeller from the Rockefeller family, and has worked in media all of his life. Put two and
Yeah.
two together.
Yeah.
He's now got a new propaganda piece, and his uh, it's entitled "Is Global Warming a Scam?" And so this guy asked him the question right out the gate. So I'll play it, then I'll repeat it. 'Cause I don't think you can hear it. Let me know if this comes true, and if so, then I won't have to repeat it. But here's how it goes. Okay, did you hear that?
No.
All right, he said the guy interviewing him says, "Can I ask you about climate change?" And here's how it starts.
No, I couldn't hear
Stand
anything.
by. Okay, it's on. Okay, so the very first word out of David Icke's mouth after the guy finishes his question, what do you think about global warming? What do you think about yada yada? And he says scam, scam.
Yep,
First word
I
out the
remember that.
gate.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so that's already now, it's like
Yep.
a trigger word for anybody who has been scammed. People don't like to be scammed, so you use a trigger word, and it's a scam. So right there, the guy that everybody bows down to and worships as an authority on anything, including what you should have for breakfast. Then it's David Icke. I mean, he got people to think that aliens made the moon, and that the royal families of England are lizards,
Yep.
secretly stealth lizards, and so therefore, obviously, and so my point when I was sending you the link to watch before the programming today, I thought it was good timing.
Yeah.
That here they're going to do an interview with David Icke on global warming, rather than get a scientist,
Yeah.
or rather that somebody can show them charts and data. They're going to get a guy who's going to give them an opinion, that is actually propagandized based on an agenda to hide. And not only that, but when you look at the video, then behind them is the red, white, and blue. The red, white, and blue, because remember, the American flag is red, white, and blue. The British flag is red, white, and blue. The French flag is red, white, and blue. The Russian flag is red, white, and blue. The banker's shield is red, white, and blue. So there's your banker's shield, red, white, and
Yeah.
blue. You
Yeah.
see the Jewish control of media and the movies. So you have to read the symbol. He's wearing
Yeah.
a bright blue shirt. The guy interviewing him is wearing a bright red tie. They're all wearing red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
And
All color coded.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so so I just and then I'll go with this quote, and then we can go in any direction. But propaganda, mind control. I wrote this down today because I was remembering when we played that music on Forbidden History Live. This one song about when Kennedy and Martin Luther King and
Yep.
his and Ted Robert Kennedy were shot. And it's
Yep.
a
I know the
classic
one.
song,
Yeah.
very moving, right? And on there, they're showing the military marching, and they're all chanting a chant, and they're all going, I don't know what I believe, but I'll be home by Christmas Eve. See, so they propagandize them when they brainwash them in the military. I don't know what I believe, even though we
Yeah.
know believe is a negative word as well. Believe is a code word, but nonetheless, they're all acknowledging, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Somebody, please give me a line to stand in.
Yeah.
So,
I remember the chant for that down here. Um,
yeah.
I don't know what I've been told. I can't remember the
Uh,
second line, but it starts with I don't know what I've been told.
in
So
Australia
yeah,
as well,
yeah.
the
I
same
don't know
deal.
what I've been
Well, what are the
told.
odds that would happen, right?
And da 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 da. I can't remember the other line,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know what
We
I've
got
been
we
told.
got
I remember that.
we've got an
Yeah.
American anthem that is identical to a British anthem, and the only difference is they changed the words. And the whole song, is it comes from England, and nobody ever puts these things together. It's just an amazing shell game. That's all it is. It's a shell. And so Rockefeller or David Icke Rockefeller, he's got everybody. Following him because the truth, they always tell better truth. So, yeah, he tells some really great stuff about mind control or
Yeah. Yeah.
government control, and but then it's that part that he slips in. So he's, in other words, he's the Alex Jones of Britain, just like Alex Jones is admittedly comes from a family of CIA agents and Freemasons, and I've heard him admit it, all of that myself on other interviews with other people, and because they always tell you the truth anyway.
Yeah.
And he's also admitted that he's really, who's that comedian that does stealthily passed away, but is just a
Robin
makeup
Williams.
change. What? No, not Robin Williams.
No.
No.
Um. I
Oh,
can't
anyway,
think.
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
There's that
Somebody will.
many. Yeah.
But so anyway, he so Alex Jones, was is a Jew, Jewish, Zionist Front, even the head of the owner of GCN Broadcasting admitted they support Zionism. Told Ted Pike, who was exposing the hate crime bills in America, to get off the phone because they're canceling the interview when he was exposing the Jewish control of media and the laws in America. And it's interesting. Well, there's so many directions we can go in when we talk about propaganda. It's not really, what I want to talk about, per se, but periodically we have to visit it, because that's where, we're at in our world. So I just closed. I see you got another picture up there. That's an interesting one. A sky reflection above. I was looking at David Icke here. So anyway,
Oh
so
yeah,
that's
I
so.
like that one. So
People
yeah, I
want to
just
follow.
added it.
People are blinded. They're blinded by the stellar leaders. How come he doesn't end up in jail? How come he
Yeah.
didn't get thrown down the sewer?
Yeah.
He did. He's promoted. I mean, the guy that's interviewing him looks classically like an MI6 agent, MI5 or MI6. But yeah, how come people like me get persecuted, and we can never get to the yeah, we can, to the top, and we get on television or whatever, but we say it in a way like nobody else can, right? And we have to keep fighting with a new computer every year,
Yeah.
you know?
That's why um we get persecuted and not listened to because we are sharing real truth. That's not a part of any lie, does it? Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. What was going through my mind while you were talking just then? I can't think of the phrase properly, but the most convincing lie has truth in it or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what they do.
Yeah.
Um,
And so what David Icke is doing is basically he's telling people there's no problem with the weather. In other words, he never, they
yeah.
never talked
Natural
about.
cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, in other words, he
Yeah.
talked in vague general terminology, and so in the end, he said he didn't say there's anything wrong. Therefore, go out in the sun and burn in the UVC, UVB radiation. go out there in the chemical mist. They never once ever mentioned geoengineering.
No, never.
And but go out and breathe deep, and get rained upon with all the chemicals that are in the rain now, and lose your health. So that's
Yeah,
what David Icke is doing. He's actually now participating in the global mass murder of Americans, prima facie evidence on its face.
yeah. Can I add something that I noticed? I wrote two
Yeah,
things down when I was watching that, because I just got more sickened by it as it went on. Um, he showed an example, and this is not to offend anybody in any way. Um, this is just what I observed.
yeah,
Uh, okay, quote. He said, "When the sun is very unactive." I didn't know there was such a word, desert. I thought there was a word inactive, but not
uh,
unactive.
yeah,
That's just one example. Um, and he also said, I can't remember in regards to what it was about, but it was in about the last 5-10 minutes of the video. Um, I wrote down, whoa, I can't even say it. I write it down all the time, but I can't even say it. I wrote down, whoa, whoa, whoa. um,
yeah.
anyway, um, quote unquote again, beyond the official narrative. Beyond the official narrative. Yeah, all these
Yeah.
big words to, yeah,
Oh yeah.
to
Well,
make
they
him
call the
seem
channel.
intelligent, and yet he can't
Yeah.
say inactive. It's unactive in
Right.
regards to the
Yeah.
sun. Yeah,
Yeah, and they call the channel London Get Real, and people worth watching, and so it's they make it like, okay, here, yet they put him on television, and basically he's been in media all his life. What I like about the channel, though, is that where there's 15,000 likes, there's actually 3,000 dislikes, and showing there's a
that's a
margin, a
record.
large margin of people who aren't buying the scam,
Yeah, that's
because
good.
all you got to
Yeah,
do is look out your door now.
yeah.
This is the best
Look out the door and see
expose
blue
on David Icke
clouds.
now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because it took me 10 years to figure it out. Because I had a buddy who was friends with David Icke, and I talked to David on the phone on the side and stuff, but I never could figure out why is he telling people that the Queen of England turns to lizards. Because I'm not stupid, okay, and therefore. But so then finally, because the truth he was telling about government control, it all sounded good. He wrote several books, and but finally, then it took 10 years, but I finally saw it when he was started talking about aliens making the moon, and it shows that anybody who doesn't know about the natural phenomena, how it works, that you have to have a sun and a moon to create life on Earth. And if somehow they came along, aliens come along to build a moon, what would be the point in that anyway?
Yeah.
Let's look at it logically. But the point is that, of course, the moon is a natural sphere that came out of the sun and
Hang
cooled.
on. Mum's here. Hang on. Keep
All right,
talking.
I'll
Keep
keep
talking.
talking. All right,
Yeah,
all
keep
right.
talking.
So okay, and anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad you're tuned in. Want to welcome any of our new listeners, and yeah, so take note of David Icke, because he's just a government shill like the other government shills. Anybody that's got big promotion, and they keep on ticking, they never get beaten up or thrown in jail. Then there's your evidence right there. They're being promoted because anybody that big would be set up by the government. They're going to take them down. They're not going to let them get away. But he's singing their tune, singing their tune. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. No, everything's just fine. Everything's rosy, and so that's the way it goes, ladies and gentlemen. I know when Ninja comes back on, we're going to talk about uh, just break down the name David Icke. Okay, well, David is are you saying you got the breakdown on it that way? Is that break it down? Ike, Icky. Oh, Ick for darkness. Ick is darkness right there. But the D is the dead letter, because David actually in the old covenant was Tavat, Tavat, and the D, they supplement the T with the D for the sunset, the sun going down. and yeah, so it's a, with the D you get darkness and doom and destruction and death and dearth, and all the bad words come out of the D. So but anyway, that's his karma, and he'll have to deal with it. I guess he figures he's going to go underground and eat children in the end. So that's good for him. Okay, but so continuing here, we got some words I'm going to do, and I'll just continue on words until Ninja gets back. Then we can go to Jasher. But so the word, and I've been writing a lot of words down here the past week because we've been having an upload problem on Forbidden History Live and couldn't. So we didn't do our next live broadcast on Tuesday nor on Thursday because we had this glitch. We'll be back on Saturday later in the afternoon or early evening. Okay, because we got other work we got to do for the programming. And Ninja, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
Yeah. I just want to say to the controllers of this world, can you lay off, please, with the frequencies? Yeah, just lay off for a little bit. Yeah, sorry. We've been stuck in this house with this weather, and it's like this house is like a mental institution living here. Yeah, insane asylum. That's what it is. Okay, I've said my piece. Sorry,
All
please,
right. Okay.
please carry on.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
did you want to talk about Jasher before you get into words? Because I wanted to address, what you were doing. You lost all of your highlights on the
I lost all my
PDF document.
highlights. Yeah. Um,
So just keep it short until you redo it again, and then we can expand on it. Is there something you want to?
okay. There was something that I saw. Um, I'll just see if I can find it. Like all my highlights were in chapter 2. Um, so it shouldn't be too
Okay.
hard to find. Um,
Well, yeah, but that's gonna, you have to have it prepared,
yeah, I know.
Ninja. You're gonna.
I know. Here's one. Here's one.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just seeing things differently as I read. It's like wow, wow, wow. Um,
Mhm.
uh, okay, I'll just read it. It's verse 20. Um, and some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink a draught that would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. I can see the duality in that with the present, like now,
Uh-huh.
with contraception and all of that. I never thought of it that way. Yeah,
Right. Well,
yeah,
nothing new under the sun.
yeah,
Nothing new. Yeah.
yeah. And I didn't know that they did that back then. So that was a bit of a wow. Um, yeah. Thank you again for this book. It's amazing, and
Welcome.
thank you.
Hmm.
Even though I've heard, I've listened to every program. I've known you for just over a year now, and my opportunity to read is very limited. So it's bits and pieces here and there, and
Hmm.
it doesn't sink in that way. And now that I've got this book, I've just gone back. I've started at the beginning, and it's
Hmm.
very slow going, but it's sinking in. I'm seeing things. Like I'm seeing the truth. I'm seeing it in a
Hmm.
different way. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. The Book
Yeah.
of Jasher is the biggest book of the Old Covenant. It's near 100 chapters, just right about 90 plus chapters, and people can get a copy, paperback version. That's the only version available. It's from artisanpublishers.com. They have the exclusive uh, product, and so your best price and to get it direct is from artisanpublishers.com. No need to let Amazon make a buck off it. Just when they're involved in our destruction, just go to artisanpublishers.com, ladies and gentlemen, and you can order right off their website or call them, tell them the Desert sent you. Okay, I've been dealing with the friends at Artisan Publishers, the Hoffman family, for over 20 years, 25 years or so, and they inherited all the works of Raymond Capt, who discovered the out-of-print version of the Book of Jasher that was first published in the 1800s, and so he found a used version and republished it. It was going to be gone, just like everything else is about to be gone. It's just the way it is. They don't want to publish the true, translations. Just like this book on Adam and Eve is so superior to the one that's in the Lost Books of the Bible and the Forgotten Books of Eden, because in this one that was published in the 1800s, they got footnotes. They got an appendix in the back, and they show you all the different references to other sources. So that's why they published the Forgotten Books of Eden, hoping we never see this other version, because they're destroying the notes. Yeah, that's what they're doing. It's always a shell game. They give you a softer version of the original version, then they get rid of the original copies, and then you're in the softer version. That's how they do it with our scriptures. So
Wow.
go figure. Yeah. Okay.
I do have another question that might sound silly, but
All right.
I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
um, was there just one flood? Was there just one flood that flooded a third of the earth?
Well,
Or
it wasn't a third of the earth. It was one epic flood that is still on the map today, and it's the Mediterranean Sea. And you can see
but that
where
didn't flood the whole earth, did it?
no, it flooded the majority of that world at that time, but it didn't it did not include the lower African races. It didn't include those in India. It was the rift, the valley between Europe and Africa was a low-lying valley. The if you can imagine the Nile River flowing into it and then turning it into a paradise, and then when the whatever cosmic event occurred, pulled Africa and Europe apart, they split apart right there on the Atlantic Ocean, and then you can see where there's this two-mile narrow strip, just this 2 mile opening that where the Atlantic Ocean flooded in and went for 4,000 miles all the way to the Levant, which is Palestine, what we call Palestine today, and flooded, and the surge was so great, of course, of the ocean coming in was so great that it went on top of the land, and the Noah's Ark was pushed all the way up to in the view of the Mount Ararat, 100 miles inland in southwest central Turkey. You see, and so this explains how Noah's Ark ended up over there. But as it would be logically, some people, literally think the whole world was flooded with water. Well, if that's the case, then where did the water go?
Yeah, yeah,
They defy the logic of reason
yeah,
and the ability to recognize that the sovereign would use nature to his advantage. And so it was a setup from the standpoint he already knew that these wicked were going to, be part of the saga of destruction because of their, it's all to teach us a lesson in modern time. It's
yeah,
a story to remember about the greatness of Yahweh. And so he uses the wicked as a scapegoat. And so what does Mediterranean Sea mean? It means the Mediterranean, sea in the middle of the terrain, sea in the middle of the land. And then
wow,
Peleg, which was one of the descendants that came after Noah, they said this was the time when was a reminder. He's called Phaleg, because his name served as a reminder of when the earth was divided. Well, what do you mean the earth was divided? Well, Europe and Africa were split apart by the sea in the middle of the land. That's when the earth was divided, with the sea in the middle of the land. There's over 200 civilizations underwater in the Mediterranean. There are islands in the Mediterranean with cobblestone roads going into the water. The Strait of Gibraltar is called the bars of Hercules to give us a picture. It was like somebody came along and pushed the continents apart. They're telling us by the visual of what the bars of Hercules means. And right there on the cliffs off of Spain, they call it the burying place of the gods. What gods? Well, meaning the sky gods, who are correctly called Elohim. That the ones with the great knowledge. So he didn't kill all the priesthood, nor did he kill all the giants, because what do we have after the flood? Well, we had the children of Og. They were giants. Remember, in fact, when the Israel who were in the wilderness and were told by Moeshan to go into the promised land and go and investigate, and they came back and said they were giants, and they made them look like grasshoppers. So all the giants weren't killed either. So it defies everything that the propagandists are regurgitating. You know, all the giants weren't killed, nor were all the Aryans killed, nor were all the races killed, nor were all the animals. The whole thing about the animals being put on the ark, it was symbolic of the grand scheme within the great mystery, that all of in our transcending this world, and when we become one with the sovereign, that there's a duality here. There's two
I
worlds.
was
There's the world
thinking
of darkness
duality. Yep,
and the world
with the
of light.
pairs. Yeah.
And so what it was trying to teach us, that we are the sovereign, and therefore all creation belongs to the sovereign and not to the wicked. They fall victim to circumstances, right? Accidents and
Yes.
catastrophes. But
Yes.
but but for the sovereign, they are delivered. We see that over and over within the scriptures. So it's important to be one with the sovereign. We want to be tight with the one who made all things, because the one who made all things is in control, and
Yeah.
nobody else is in control. They just think that they are,
Yeah.
until finally that devastating event takes place in their life, and then they'll find out for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Yeah.
this verse here confirms everything you just said. Um, yeah, I was seeing it, but I didn't know how to explain it. Can I just read it to you?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it's in chapter 2 as well. I'm fine. As you're speaking, I'm spotting the bits that I had highlighted before, which is a good thing. Um, oh, and I just want to say g'day to Jet, g'day, and that way. Love you guys, love all of you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
thank you, Yojani, thank you, Yojani. Yeah, I apologize. I let frustration take over a little
There
bit.
she goes, putting on the mask of Apollo again. She thinks she's going to get away with it.
Yeah. Okay, please forgive me. I let frustration overcome me a little bit.
It's all right. Everybody appreciates you, and then you can get away with it. Just keep on rolling
Oh,
here.
woohoo.
Don't.
Um, um, okay, verse 8. We're going to verse 8 in chapter 2.
Huh?
Um, I see this as uh, the same as what you just said, pretty much, I think. And the seed which they sowed in those days in the ground became thorns, thistles, and briars. Is that how you say that? Um, for from the days of Adam was this declaration concerning the earth, of the curse of God, which he cursed the earth on account of the sin which Adam sinned before the Lord. I know I did not read any of that in original thought,
Uh-huh.
um,
Okay.
but I just wanted to
All right.
show
Well.
you that I can see through it. Like
Mhm.
I can see through that now. What you were saying, like if you're in the darkness, um, you reap what you sow. Um, yeah, if you're in the darkness, of course
Right.
it's going to be like you're cursed.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if you're in the light, then uh, good things will happen. Yeah, if you do what's required, and
Yeah. It doesn't mean you're not going
yeah,
to suffer or feel
exactly,
pain or
exactly,
loneliness or all the other things, but
exactly.
but
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 there's
it's a
rewards.
struggle. It's
Yeah,
about overcoming.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so the thorns and thistles that it's referring to is metaphorical
yeah,
for the what when we're bringing forth, in other words, when the earth was cursed, well, that meant the body was cursed because the body
Yes.
is made up of the earth,
Yes.
and the thorns and the thistles are the children, the offspring we're going to bring into the world that it's going to pierce our heart because we
Yes.
wanted to bring in a perfect family, a perfect creation, a perfect ideal situation, and instead what we got was scrambled eggs and burnt toast. And so it's about the recognizing that this world brings forth thorns and thistles, and they hurt. We're all feeling the pain.
Yeah.
That was what the crown of thorns on Yeshua's head symbolized, the mental anguish that we will go through. But if we can just hang in there, then this particular thorn bush bore wet red fruit, sweet red fruit every season. And so what it meant was, if we can just hang in there, the mental anguish is so great, but yet if you could just hang
Yeah.
in there, what once was a crown of thorns upon your head can turn into the sweetest red fruit you ever wanted to eat. But because it's about knowing the sunrise, that represents Yeshua, and therefore we never question whether the sun will rise. So if we know that we're trusting in him, that he is our sovereign, and that he sees all things, and that he's called us out, and that he wouldn't abandon us, then while we're wearing that crown of thorns, if we just hang in there, what was once, a crown of thorns of extreme mental anguish will turn into the sweetest red fruit, and that's the sunrise that we're looking for. And it only happens to those who hang in there. You have to hang in there. It's the greatest test of life.
Yeah.
But we fold. I folded many times. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to remember how many times because I have been going down the wilderness trail alone. It's no fun to go alone. It's tough to go alone, and most people wouldn't make it going alone. But what the Father instituted in me, I remember being conscious in my mother's womb and sucking my thumb in St. Pink light. I had visions all my adolescent years, and I climbed a mountain 40 years ago, the tallest peak in the contiguous U.S. So I had this drive that was put in me to because I was having visions, because I was seeing things. And then when I came off the mountain is when the words opened up to me, and the truth about living pure and free from sin and separate from the insanity. You can't be a part of the insane game and think you're gonna, you can have both worlds. You can't have both worlds. You have to separate from the other world that is dead, DOA, on arrival, dead on arrival. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know. I
yeah,
know.
nice
I know
graphic.
what you're saying. I know. I. I get it. I get it so much, especially over this latest struggle that I'm going through. Like just in the last couple of days. Now, aluminium moment. I just stop mid sentence there.
Hmm?
Struggle. Um, each time the struggle gets a little bit more extreme, and wondering if I can bear any more. Um, it's just um, unbearable. It's been unbearable, and just this last day or two, I've become clear again, and I feel lighter. And even though it's still unbearable and frustrating, uh, you you get a little bit more strength. You get a little bit closer to Yeshua. You get a little bit closer to going home after each struggle, and
Hmm.
and that's the wonderful thing. That's what keeps me going at the moment. So I get it, Desert.
All
I'm
right.
right there with you. Yeah.
Okay. So did we? Are we into words yet, or are we still on Jasher? Where do you want to
Um,
go?
I'll go through and redo my highlights, and
All right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Remember yellow highlighter because any other color could
Okay.
block it out if you
Yeah.
try to copy it.
I don't
Keep it
want to
yellow.
put yellow highlights in my brand new book,
It's
but I'm gonna
books
have
are
to.
made to be used
I
and
know.
abused. That's what they're for. And I use red ink. You could put a check mark, red check mark next to the verse, and at the top put another red check mark. Then put what is important in that particular verse. So on the bottom and top, I put my notes. and I underline in red, and so that's how you can find it. You're not going to find it such a big book,
Yeah, and
so
all the wows are
use
going to
it.
get
Yeah.
lost.
All right.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
yeah. So,
So okay.
yeah,
So
I'll do
we're
it.
on.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Or we're on H of Wars. All right. And so I got some words because they've been piling up. I've not
yeah.
been
Good, good.
broadcasting all week.
Yeah,
And
I'm glad
huh.
you got some.
Are you hooting? Are you hooting? Was that a hoot?
I was saying good.
Hoot. Oh, I thought you
I
said
was saying,
hootman. All right.
yeah, I'll say hoot hoot as well. Yeah.
That's
Um,
Scott. That's a Scottish Rite Owl, I guess, and that they go hoot. That wouldn't be good. All right. Never mind. All right. So I was watching a documentary on Germany.
yeah. Please continue.
All right. All right. What is that? An underground world you got up there in picture? It's like the giants build a cavern, and
It's so
underneath.
cool, isn't it? Yeah, and
Well,
I
it's
don't
rather.
know. I don't know what it is. It's
Well,
just
it's
cool.
kind of promoting the Hollow Earth theory. I don't know. I don't if I like
Light at
that.
the end of the tunnel. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better. Well, that okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'll
So
change it.
tank. The
Hang on.
word
I have
tank
another.
in German. Interesting, because I was watching about the drugs. I was watching a documentary about the fact that all of the German soldiers were taking speed, basically, in order
Yeah.
to keep on rolling
Yeah.
and conquer
Yep.
Europe.
I came
Yeah,
across
they
that.
they had them all
Yep.
on amphetamines, and they were and so it was called oh, let me forget the what was it called? I should have wrote down the name of it. It was called
I came across that information ages ago, so I don't. I just remember, so I don't know.
yeah, yeah, but I'm trying to think of the name real quick. It was oh, gee, was I cannot remember the name. It was powerful because the name of the product was the name of the psychology, of what they were doing. It started with a P, and I want to say like okay, maybe it'll come to me. So anyway, so the word tank is in German is Panzer. You see, and so Panzer from the Indo-Germanic would be more correct. Tank, like you can have a water tank. You can put water in a tank, but literally Panzer, there's a whole nother word, and when you see it, it's you can see it. It is Fanzar. So I'll type it in the thing here. So
In the thing.
tank. Okay,
Yeah. Sorry.
okay. Yeah, in the chat tank. Okay, is Panzer Panser. Then that becomes Panzar. Okay, so there it is, Panzer. So you see, so remember, Panzer means the power of the power of a star. So
Yeah.
Fanzar. So you see what they're calling a tank? The Fanzar.
Oh.
The fans are
Wow.
the power of a star, the big gun.
Yeah.
You can't stop the tank like you can't stop the sunrise, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. You see,
Wow.
so there's your original thought right there.
Yeah.
Panzer, that's the Germanic. You see how much more powerful it is than the word tank.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
okay, so I'm going to put that under the T section, and then
And
we got the word left. What?
I'm just, I love it. I love it. Does it? Please
Yeah.
continue.
And okay, so if you remember that we talked about the R and the L, and that the left is in other words, if we go, let's see, so we change out the L and the R, the royal vowel. So we got left, which is correctly REFT, and then if we got right, which is correctly okay. But if we stay with left for a moment and realize that it is reft of light, and that the right is the strong arm, typically, and most people, not everyone, but most people, then it's telling us that the right is on the light. The strength is in the light. There's strength in the light. But then if we look at the word left, but realize the T is a code, and it's really not left, but it's left. It's left. The T, is a silent symbol, so it's really LEF, and then in brackets the T. Okay, and then, but the anagram then is FEL. Okay, It's fell. Left at the end, when you read it backwards, if you're on the left, it means you're in the fall, right?
Wow.
You see, the left is in
Wow.
the weakness. The weakness is in the lower world, in the fall, absent of the light, you see? So that's
Yeah.
what it's all saying, you see? Left
Yes.
is fall. That's, they know what they're talking about. So the word left probably came from the word fall, and it's this is the why how the words reveal the true nature of things. The words are
Yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
but we can't read them. So another example, like the word, when we talk about the not the Nazi, like Nazi NASA is Nazi, right? Nazi is NASA, and we know that German scientists all run the program. In fact, the head of the V2 rocket, SS Stormtrooper, mass murderer, Werner von Braun, who on his deathbed decided he liked family instead, and had a confession. Um, that if we read the words, so what do they call the French rocket program that they launched from French Guiana? It's called Orion, and Orion is nothing other than Aryan. You see, so you got the American version, it's Nazi, and then you got the French version, and it's Ariane.
Yeah. It makes me think of Orion as well.
Right.
And then,
Well, right.
yeah.
Orion is Aryan.
Yeah.
That's right. It means the true Rayon, the true creators are the
Yeah.
Aryans, because they're the ones that had breathed into them through their father Adam the gnosis of all things. And so when you know about all things and how all things operate in free energy and metallurgy and selective breeding and you name it, well then anything goes. And that they're the ones who gave us our modern creation. But the scapegoat was that they also destroyed their world through their own arrogance, because the word arrogant also comes from Aryan, and so another word is which is water, but water, the W is a corruption. They flip over the M and they get water, Water, which correctly is Vator, V. It would be like Ator, but more correctly V V Ator. Okay, which correctly means the Dual creation of, okay, the dual creation of light. So where do we get the word dual from? Because the V, as you see, is a component of two sticks, and that's your dual. You see, two forces came down.
Oh.
The V came down, right? A right hand, a left hand, and they came together in the mixing pot, right?
Wow,
In the
Desert,
tank.
this is amazing. Sorry, please
There's
continue.
yeah, and so the AT is creation, okay, and then the OR is the light. So I just taught you how to read Indo-Germanic, okay, right there. You see
Yes, you did.
Viator, the serpent. What is the Viator? The Ator. Well, the Viator, the Vator is the serpent. It's the serpent, you see? The Viator. And so what is the Viator? Everything. Creation, right? The dual creation of light is the serpent. That's why the primary serpent is the sun. That's known as the cobra, our supporting power. Our supporting power is the serpent. In fact, as I gave you a video to watch, a short one this week, right? And you heard it in there. They
Yeah.
said that the word snake or naga, correctly naga, serpent,
Yes.
naga,
Yes.
it means wise one.
Yes.
Really means, right? And
Yes.
so they didn't regard the serpent as some vile creature. They realized it represented a mystical aspect of creation. You see, it's been demonized. We want to
Yes.
step on it as soon as we see it, but yet we don't want to step on our serpent, right? Don't step on my serpent. Get away from me, right? We're supposed to step on our serpent and be done with it, but we love our serpent. I love my serpent. I love my serpent. It's a good serpent. He's carrying me around everywhere I go. But yet it has to be done away with. The serpent has to be killed. Okay, so there's the way you read in the symbol, as well as the component symbols. The AT, why does it represent creation? because, and by the way, the V looks like the serpent tongue, right? The V looks like
Yes.
the NASA symbol, right?
Yep.
Go
And the
put that NASA
Nike
symbol
symbol,
up.
it's everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And then the AT represents the alphabet, and from A to T, the elephant tau. That's the correct. But it is the serpent of creation, and so the AT is the foundation of thought. The foundation of thought for all things that we create, we have to communicate. So the alphabet literally is the symbol for creation. Then the O for the symbol
Oh,
of
whoops.
sun and moon, right?
Sorry, I
And
just
then the
mute some music. Sorry, please
R
continue.
R is the symbol for royal. So it is the royal round. The royal round is the light. Whether you talk about the moon or the sun, or the earth because it's emerald fire, the emerald fire. And so there's a and you can see in the anagram of Ater. Okay, Ater. Let's look at this. Ator. Use and you add the royal symbol R, you get Rotor. Rotor. You see, so the Ater, which is a serpent, in the anagram is a rotor, right? Because a rotor goes around and around and around, right? Rotating
Yeah.
and then around. So you see, so rotor is an expression of the serpent Ater. The Earth is a rotor; it's rotating, and there because it's rotating in the face of the sun, and with the water on it, which is also serpent, it's creating electricity. It's a um, what do you want to call it? I never
Um.
was good on electronics or all that stuff, but what I'm saying it's like a generator. There, that's the word I'm trying to think of, a
Okay.
generator. All right, and so and talking about generator, that brings up another word. Let me put
Generation.
this. Well, no, I'm thinking of Ganesha, the garden, the Gan. You see, because okay, 'cause
Oh.
we were talking about mourning, and I finally looked it up in that comparison of all 100 different languages of from our Indo-Germanic past, and so basically Gan, the word they give us the word Gan,
Yeah.
well, I'll spell garden, Garden,
For
and
Garnoon. Is
they
that
say,
how you say it correctly?
well, no,
Garnoon.
Gan. In the Hebrew,
Garnoon.
in the corruption, they're saying it's Gan, but
Okay.
it's gain, correctly gain, Ghaynn. Now there's your Indo-Germanic, you see, and that's the garden, the gain, and so the G is the return, the AY is the I, the original word for I, and the N is the two powers that came down, like the V representing the duality, the D, the two N's are correctly representing the M. The M is divided. That's why the M is at the middle of the alphabet, right? Because it's telling you it's at the center of everything. There's the V at the center of the M. You see, so at the center of the M is the V, and the two columns are on each side of it. So this is how you read the stick formations, and so Naga, as we were watching that documentary, it was a good one by I can't what did he Phenomenal Tours. I think his channel is called Phenomenal Tours.
I can just
Um,
look it up. Uh,
yeah, because I don't have it's three words. I can't remember.
I'll just look
But
it up for you. Please continue while I'm looking. Yeah.
And so Nagas, they show that the Nagas, which is what they're telling us is serpent, right in our scriptures, um, that could also be felt. Yeah, thank you, because it's physical creation. Way to go, Jet. You got it. There,
Yay.
that's I saw that when I was saying it, but I didn't bring that one up. But you brought clarity to that. Thank you. Okay, yeah, and so Nagas in the statues was actually depicted as a man, and he was on each side of a door entry, and but then ultimately
Yes.
as they progressed, then they changed it into like a multi-headed serpent, seven-headed serpent. Okay, seven heads, and so so what does the Nagas mean? They are also known as the guardians. So there's the serpent, right? We think of the
Yeah.
mythological stories. They tell us, and the guy with the sword has to go to the cave, and at the cave, like Jason and the Argonauts, and the serpent, the multi-headed serpent, is there guarding the golden fleece, right? And if we could kill the serpent, which is the metaphor for us, then we can get the golden fleece. If we can conquer the illusion of ourself in this world, recognizing the spirit, then we can get the golden fleece, and the golden fleece is the light. Bottom line, gold represents light. You see, and so we have to cut the head off of the serpent, and that's the greatest challenge. So Nagas are known as guardians. Well, therefore, as I pointed out on the programming on both this channel and on Forbidden History Live, that the Adam, when he called him a serpent, they said the serpent was more subtle, but actually the serpent was Naga in the Strongs, and Naga is an abbreviation of Star Navigator, the Navigator, the one with the ability to know all things. And then when it said more subtle, well, that meant in Avram meant he was the sovereign, because he was the sovereign. So therefore, since he had all the head knowledge, it makes sense that when they're calling Nagas the guardians, that of all
Yes.
people, he would have been the guardian of the sacred knowledge of creation. That's what Adam was.
Yes.
He was endowed with it. And that's why the Aryan children that came through him then decided to conquer the world, because they had all of this
Yep.
esoteric knowledge of creation, everything.
Yep. They knew
Yeah,
they knew the true nature of this world, and they knew how to use it to their advantage,
right. And
with
to our
everything, with their
disadvantage, because
technology,
we'll
with
take
their
the world.
control. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but so now when I was watching that, then I reflected back on the Pope, because I
Yeah.
I knew that the Pope, when they say he's wearing a fish hat, that was a cover for the fact that he's wearing a serpent hat, and because that serpent hat I knew was called Dagon, and Dagon, when you put the royal vowel back in, you get dragon, and the dragon is the serpent that drags himself on the ground, and so now I know that what that is implying is that he's the dragon in the metaphor, just like in India on both sides of the entryway, and he's therefore known as the garden. The dragon is the garden, the serpent is the guardian, and the dragon is the guardian. So the Pope is the guardian. That's why he's got the keys behind him on his chair. He's saying, I'm holding the keys, but I'm guarding them, and you can't have them, slave. You see, they're in your face. And that's how you interpret the symbolism. The Pope is the guardian. That's the metaphor. This is like the missing piece I was missing all these years, And it is that I knew he was wearing a serpent hat, and so therefore he's representing the serpent, and he's representing the guardian. And I did mention that, like on the word God we trust on the dollar bill,
Yeah.
American dollar bill, I said put the royal vowel back in the L, you get gold, but also you change it out and you can put the R in there and you get guard. And so it's not only in gold they trust, but they are the guards of the treasury. The guards of the wealth of this world. They're the guards, and that's why God backwards is dog, because the dogs are the guards as well, doing the bidding of their master. The priesthood are the guards, and the Scottish Rite and kilts. Yeah, all of that in there. Oh, and then
Wow.
I put down here. Yeah, so I concluded that Adam was the Naga, and he's the navigator. He's the one who knew who we were in this world. He's the one who knew who
Yeah.
we were, what we are, when we
Yep.
were, and where we were. And he was supposed to deliver us truth, but instead his children enslaved mankind, and
Yeah.
that's part of the sad story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't in on it. He was
Phenomenal travel videos. I put it in the chat. That's the name of the channel.
phenomenal travel videos. That's
Yeah.
correct. Okay. And okay, I got two more words, and we'll be good on words. So, okay, the Ark of the Covenant being a metaphor, a symbol. It was a symbol for something else. And the bottom line is, because it's the great thing. Oh, do you think we'll ever find the Ark? The Ark of the Covenant. And then there's, the false story is it's in Ethiopia in some little hut and with one little guy guarding it. Nobody's allowed to go in and look at it. But we know Ron Wyatt discovered the Ark of the Covenant in Jeremiah's grotto, directly 25 feet under where Yeshua was crucified. And when his blood spilt and the earthquake happened, then the earth opened up a crack, and the blood went right down 25 feet below the surface and landed right on top of the Ark of the Covenant as the last blood sacrifice, the final one, the most important one, that to save all of mankind. So the reason the Ark of the Covenant is not to be seen, by people, is because it would be idolized, of course, and used as a control factor. That's why when about a dozen or so, half a dozen Khazarian Jews tried to go up there to get it out of the tunnel. They all died, and Ron Wyatt pulled their bodies out. They all died of brain hemorrhages, and so it's not meant to be seen. And but yet, so the question is, what did it symbolize? The Ark of the Covenant, which had in it the law, okay, and the symbol of the priesthood, Aaron's rod, that budded the almond. There's almond for priesthood. Um, uh, it represents us because we are the Ark of the Covenant, the Covenant, the Kevin, the Lot High Noon. We are the symbol. All of creation came into being. The Son came into being for us. You see, and so the law, it said, was already written on our hearts. It's already written, and therefore we are an ark. We are a container holding a tank, holding something, right? A fan. What was the tank? Fanzar. We are a power of a star. We were told to be like stars of heaven, right? Like, and that's what Zavram Haim represented. The star Ram, represents the sun. So these are the conjecture of these these symbols and metaphors that we have to see. We have to read like we've never read before, because we're being told this is what it is, and don't ask any questions, slave. Or the way they teach you in the Catholic realm. Well, that's for the priesthood. We're not supposed to know this stuff. That's strictly for the priest. You know, and we're supposed to be stupid. Yeah, that way we'll kiss the Pope's big toe. And yeah, and don't forget that third exclamation point.
Yeah, I
Uh,
have to edit that one. Oh, yeah,
yeah, everything happens in threes,
yeah.
and well,
You
of course you
notice
got
I'm
to do.
doing it in everywhere I type. I have three
Oh, okay. Yeah.
exclamation
That is
marks now.
expressive of the duality, but the third element is bringing them back together. That creates the third, right? In other words, the sun and moon represent both paradigms, light and darkness, but then the earth is where everything comes back together, right? That's why the V came down with a left and a right, but it came to a point because it's a mixing, right? It's a mixing of creation. Just like classically, the man and woman coming together is the mixing of both opposites to create life. So life is created in the division. The division occurred, the lower realm occurred, but then it's to bring back to the one. Everything goes back. Has is needs to go back to the one. Not to say it will, because it says that many seek to enter in, but few are saved. And I got one more, then we're going to need to take a long break because I'm wearing out. I tell you what, I think I'm going to save this one because my voice is feeling it right now, Ninja. So why don't we go ahead and go to a long break, and then when we come back, we'll do the dictionary of all scriptures and myths, and then some symbols again, okay, and we'll see where we go from there.
Okay,
And
just scrolling.
oh, you already fixed it, boy. You're fast. Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that. That's that. The
I'm a bit more with it.
internet
Yeah.
uh,
Sorry, I missed that. What did you
internet
say?
magic.
Yeah,
Internet magic. Yeah.
yeah.
There should be a space though in between the Zorain and the three strikes though. Can you put a space in there?
1 second.
All right. All right. Instant. That's called instant karma, I think, right? No. All
Now it's out of now. Oh, hang on. I just have to straighten it up.
right.
It's
Uh-oh.
out of.
I'm putting her to there. You go. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
And tell
No
people
worries.
how they can call in as well if they got a comment. I can still take them on my hot phone,
On
or they can
your-
call on Skype. I don't know if they can call. They can try calling me. I'm wondering if somebody calls me on. No, because we're tied in. I'd have to take another call. Only if I could merge them. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
learn the trick how
See.
to merge. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to.
Like we can, because my Skype is really slow with all
Yeah,
all this
I could take the
live
call on
streaming
my
slows
end.
everything down. So
I'm gonna have to
yeah, if you can do it at your
Yogineer to
end
show
the
me how
way
to.
Yogineer
How
does
to take
it
the call. Yeah.
on
All right, we'll do
Forbidden
that.
History
In the
Live.
meantime, let's go to a break.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'll
All
go
right.
the long one.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, callers are welcome on Desert's phone at the moment while we fix a few technical issues with the Skype. So any questions? If you want to put them in the chat, just type desert in capital letters so that either Desert or I can see them easier. And that way they will get answered. Also, yeah, you can call in. The number is, hang on, I have to look it up. I know this number off by heart, but I have to look it up. Okay, yeah, 608-566-7295. That's 608-566-7295. If you're calling international, just put a +1 at the start, and I will have to make a graphic with the phone number on it. Anyway, I'll put it in the chat in a minute. We're just going to have a bit of a break. Please stay with us. You won't hear this anywhere else. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. You're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles here with NinjaCat 111 and Desert Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel, and also Forbidden History Live, and also um, sorry, I'm scrolling. Uh, Multitasking used to be a good asset of mine. Not so much these days. Um, Also, new channel for our Fenton Bible reading. And you can also hear Desert on the Cosmic Essence, which is our other new channel. So please subscribe to those two and check the bell. We're still in the first stages of getting these channels up and running, but you don't want to miss any uploads. They're both more like easy reference channels, easier to find things on these two new channels, because we have a long list of live streams, and if you're looking for something in particular, it can be hard to find. So, yeah, please subscribe. Welcome back, Desert. How's it going?
Thank you.
You
In
good?
fact, we'll have the. I thought I was on mute. I apologize. We have the condensed story of Adam coming up first, and because that's the most important story, next to who the Watchers are, and of course next to who Lucifer is or is not as well. So yeah, so we're trying to get the most important uh, presentations on there right away, and then all the other ones as well on a topical search, so you can find any specific item you're wanting. We cover a lot of ground. We do 3 hours usually on a program, and so we have hundreds of hours of broadcasting already to post. So definitions of words, that'll be on a different line. That'll be in its own little bar of videos, and yeah, and it will continue to compound that way. So there we are. So
Yeah,
we're in the Ninja, thank you for all that. And
no
we're on
worries.
Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths, and I'm not worried, okay?
Okay.
So, all right, just clarify. All right, she says, it's, I always wonder what do they mean, no worries, and I never get the answer
It means all
because
good. It means all good, but it's not all good, is it? Does it?
it's not all good. All right, it's all right. What they got us saying trained over here to say hello, and means life is hell, and good morning. So we're already waking up and we're wishing somebody have a death in the family, and well, now that's a beautiful picture of Mount Whitney. Thank you. That's one I've not seen before.
That's one I've
That
not
is
seen
absolutely,
before. That's why I got it. Yeah.
yeah. That would be the sunrise. That's facing east, so the sun is rising on that. On the other side is the Pacific. This is Central California, but it's going west. This is the Sierra. The Sierra Trail goes all the way from Mexico all the way up to Canada through this vein right here. This is the big peak. What a you can do a Sierra Trail march through other people's eyes. They took videos the whole way up, and I've gone the trail by watching other people's videos. So yeah, you can enjoy this, because if you're never going to do it yourself. So it's a way to enjoy this, ladies and gentlemen. But
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
these Sierra Mountains are actually more beautiful than the Rockies. They really are. And now they're being destroyed by the trees are burning up. All the ponderosa pines and the spruces and all these other trees are just dying, literally in mass on the sides of the mountains. You can see it, and that's another reason they're setting the fires, because they don't want people
To
to
cover that
see.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to see that the trees have died, so they figure
Yeah.
let's just burn them and bring more cloud cover, hazy mist into the sky at the same time. So that's the game, yeah. Because trees don't die because there's a drought. They just stop growing. They go into hibernation. But these trees have died on the sides of the mountains. So yeah, real tragic.
Yeah.
So we're in the. I'm sorry.
I'm just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Okay. Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths. Uh-huh. And so agreeing with me then means you've moved away from the paper, and so therefore you're not in alignment with me. Is what you just said, right?
Okay, so
You're
I'm
not. You're not.
in what do I say instead?
In alignment.
I'm in
In alignment.
alignment with you.
Yes, that's okay. I knew what you meant. We're talking words, though, so we're gonna remember. I'm gonna remind a problem, that we have here. Agree means to move away, and so that's
Agree
the
that you just the way you said it just then, you just made me think of aggravate.
right.
Aggravate.
There's aggravate. Right, you've aggravated me.
No, I
You're in
haven't.
agreement. You moved away. You moved away. It's an aggravation. It's an agreement, right? Aggravate.
Well,
You see?
I'm
You
never
saw it
writing
right
I
there.
agree in the chat
Yeah.
ever again.
Yeah, ag is the word navigate,
Oh,
agate.
wow.
So it's moving. When you're navigating, you're going away, right? You're going away. You're navigating. So you see, it's all in that. And but I just for fun, for the demonstration, I'll talk. We're still going to use these words. We're still going to do word. Word is a shavor. So word is war. There's word war, the war of death. WORD is WARD, war of death. D is a symbol for death, So they gave us words of death, right? Words are death because they're not true, they're not correct, they're incomplete, and they're all misleading, and they all seem to go into death, right? Like
Yes.
for
Yes.
child is chilled and killed, and
Sorry,
good
I'm a,
morning means I wish you had a death in the
yeah.
family, and if I want to be awake, then it must mean I want to have a funeral, right?
Yeah, and I have to stop saying yes. I have to say yesh because I don't like the s, this at the end. At the end, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just noticing so many words, so many Ashavors end in s. Um, yeah, and I don't like it. Does it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
um,
the serpent is not evil by itself, so we can know that, and
yeah.
therefore we are in a culture where they got us to say the serpent sound.
Um,
His
um,
story, his is Welsh, means silent story. The silent story is what we talk about here. Go ahead.
uh, I just thought of something that could be quite big. Desert. I don't know. With the S, uh, um, I'm thinking along the lines of the duality and everything. With the S, you put an S on the end of the word, and it's the plural, so meaning more than one. Um, with the when you put the S on the end of the word,
Yeah, because everything is serpent, right?
yeah,
And yeah.
yeah,
And so his history, then we hear the hiss for the
yeah,
serpent story. History also then means serpent story, and it is also the silent story. What story? The story of the serpent that we talk about here. When we say everything is serpent, they got us listening to a story at the beginning of our book, and they don't even tell us who the serpent is. You know, we don't even know who the serpent is. Wait a minute. There's only two people, and snakes can't talk, right? Snakes
yeah.
can't talk.
It's
Uh
because
huh.
it's a mystery that we have to figure out.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's my story. The mystery is my story. We're all in a mystery. Okay, so heaven. We're gonna do heaven,
Okay.
and heaven is a code for the light of the sun, or the great sunrise of the air. This is how it's being portrayed here in the very first narrative quote. The first Aishana, the first man is of the earth, earthly, and the second is of it says of heaven, but that's the code they through this is a man-made cyber code, and the even means darkness, so there's another negative, right? The even, the h is the, and the even, well, when is the evening? The even is the evening when the sun goes down, so there's our black sun again. So when it was supposed to represent the sun, so the second man is what? Of the sun. If the first man is of the darkness, earthly, then certainly the second born must be of the sun, the greatest sunrise of the air, the light of the sun. And okay, as is the earthly, so are they that are earthly, and as those that are of the light, such are they also that are of the light of the sun. And as we have borne the image of the earthly, we shall then also bear instead, the implication, the image of the light of the sun. Okay, and the first man is that is such a beautiful picture. Yeah, just like the sun is rising right now on that thing. That and
I love the color, like the
yeah,
gold color on
yeah,
there. Yeah.
I can't tell you what it's like to be up there. It's like being on the moon. It's so desolate. Just nothing but rock. You're just on top of rock, and you're at the tallest peak in the contiguous U.S. That's Mount Whitney for anybody listening in later on. That's Mount Whitney, 14,500 feet, right at the very pinnacle. Can you put your pointer up at the pinnacle uh, on the screen? Are you able to make your mouse pointer go up on that picture, or
Oh,
no?
uh, uh,
It doesn't do that, right? No. Okay,
can't do
yeah,
it right
I'm
now.
sorry. You're not doing desktop. Okay, that's
No,
right.
it's in the
So,
OBS.
yeah.
It's
So
just
the
a
broad, so
screenshot.
that broad, yeah, that very fat peak, that as you can see, it's obviously the highest peak. It's very broad compared to the ones on the left, but you have to walk across those ones on the left to get to the top peak there. And there's even a stone building up there just in case you get
Really?
stuck in a blizzard. Yeah, so you can
Wow.
hibernate in that stone building till the blizzard goes away, and the Sierra Club will come up there and rescue you. But yeah, that's the top of the world right there, 14,500 feet, and that's where my vision opened up to me about the words and the ancient wars and all that. Okay, so continuing here, and such are they as have borne the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the light of the sun. The first Aishon, the first man, is the character atom of the dust, which is developed from below through the astral evolution. The matter earthly side of being. The second Aishon is the individuality or divine monad from above. The spiritual uh, is heavenly, which would imply the cosmic or the of the light, the of being, the side of being, that our true nature, in other words, our true essence. To the personality are attached the lower qualities, and to the individuality, the higher qualities. In the course of development, the ego more and more asserts its divine nature and finally rises from the lower nature to become united with the higher in consciousness on the Buddhic plane, the flower. That's the Buddha is the flower. You're a flower. The Bud, your Buddha is your bud waiting to open up as a flower. More and more distinctly over our earthly life, with all its best affections, hangs the serene heaven. Hangs the serene. What do you think is hanging up there? But the sun and the stars. That's the heavens. Hangs the sun and the stars and the moon of the divine life speaking, and the stars and the suns and the moon of the love of Yahweh, into which our earthly affections must enter before they become religious or spiritual, uh, into which they cannot enter till they have been born a second time, a second born. These afflictions, says born again here, but we know it's second born. These afflictions which the Spirit finds in you are not religion. Never let yourself think that they are, and so dis, des, so depreciate and disregard the work which the Spirit has to do in you. In other words, don't be concerned. We all have a great work we have to overcome. They're not religion, but they are the material of the religious life. They are part of your nature in which you may become religious. In other words, everything is like an instrument. Everything's teaching. We're here to learn. Um, they are part of your nature. Okay, they are the stone in your nature out of which the temples may be built. That's Philip Brooks' sermon, How Many Loaves, etc. The quality of the eternal life alone makes the light, reveals the light. The quality of the eternal life, it says, makes the heaven. More everlastingness might be no boon. H. Drummond, Natural Laws. That's a obscure quote. I don't know how to interpret that. And then we have one more here, Heaven and Earth. Symbols of spirit and matter. The life of the form, sides of all manifestation. They're strictly speaking, heaven and earth would imply sun, earth, and moon. Symbols of spirit and matter. Right, so the sun represents spirit, and the moon represents material, and the earth is the bridal chamber, where their sun and moon are making love and creating life. The life and form sides of manifestation. And therefore the symbol V. V is that prime symbol of the two powers coming down, the opposing forces of right and left, male, female, light and darkness, hot and cold, in and out, up and down, north and south. These are, strictly speaking, only two substances, matter and spirit. All particular things result from the composition of varying degrees of these two, and are therefore mere accidents and have no abiding reality. Well, they have a definite purpose in that sense. So, heaven represents male yang principle, and earth the corresponding yin female principle, on which two principles of the whole of existence depends. Heaven is the sun, so represents the male yang principle, even though the woman comes out of the side, and that's the fallen light, the virgin light, and earth the corresponding yin principle, female, on which two principles the whole existence depends. C.T.R. Allen, Chinese Poetry and Preface. Varro derives the male divinities from heaven or Jupiter and the active principle, and the female divinities from the earth or Juno as the passive principle, Zeller, eclecticism. In the beginning, the great Elohim created the sun, earth, and moon, and the stars, and the earth was not yet formed, though, and the darkness was upon the void in the deep, and the Aisha Spiri, the breath of Yahweh, moved upon the face of the cosmic waters, and the commencement of the emanation of the solar universe, the primordial elements, spirit and matter, are differentiated from that which is itself neither, but which is potential for both. And the primordial matter is inchoate and formless, and the evolution of form not having yet begun, the spirit is not yet permeating in enlightening matter, and the supreme logos, the Atman, broods upon or contemplates the waters of absolute truth, the ultimate reality. In the beginning, the great Elohim, the unity, created or put forth upon himself the duality, the cosmic essence, or Aisha Sphare, the Aisha fire, and the spirit, and the deep forces, substance, and their ultimate phenomenal resultant generated of them, the earth or matter, and the spirit or force of the great Yahweh, moved on the face of the cosmic waters or substance of Yahweh, and the Yahweh breathed or found expression, and there was light, and or manifestation of Yahweh. That's E. Maitland, Life of a Kingsford, Volume 1. Pwaku was the first being after the separation of the cosmic forces and of the earth, between which he existed, and whereas heights and depths he comprehended, and he knew the principle of creation, and was the original ruler of the world. He describes it appearing from vast unknown deserts. That's Kid, China. So it sounds like this Puan Ku was the first being after the separation, and so it sounds like he may represent the atom. It says, talks about Puan Ku again, signifies the second logos. That's right, the second symbol. That's right, because the first symbol is the light, and that's Yeshua, and the second symbol is man, and that's the atom. It goes from the atom, atom, to the atom, and the divine artificer, from whom all emanates. And that's what we would refer to then as our modern creation, that emanated through the Aryans. Okay, the separation of heaven and earth, the sun, earth, and moon, refers to the duality of primordial manifestation, namely the polarities of spirit and matter, between the manifestation, which manifestation proceeds, and through which the heights and depths of the planes of creation are to be supplied. The divine ruler proceeds from the chaos, unknown deserts. Of old, sun, earth, and moon were not yet separated. Okay, there you go. Sun, earth, and moon were not yet separated. They were one. Okay, there it is.
Wow,
There's my
wow.
witness right there, Ninja.
That's
Right?
beautiful.
It's nice to find another quote that is confirming what I've been
Yeah,
saying here.
yeah.
I'm going to underline that in red. Heaven and earth were not yet separated. The sun, that because it's not heaven, it's sun.
That's
It's sun.
amazing.
Yeah, sun and earth were not yet separated. The earth is a child of the sun, of the light, and in the yin and the yo. Oh, yo is yang here. The yin and the in and the yo. Oh, it's in yo. Okay, it could be in yo. Yin and yang, and not yet divided. They formed a chaotic mass like an egg is like the sun, which was of obscurely defined limits and contained germs. That would be germs for seeds, the seeds of light, the germination. The pure and cleaner part was thinly diffused and formed the cosmic forces, while the sun and the grosser elements settled down and became the earth. All right, settled down, and the finer elements easily became a united body. But the consolidation of the heavy and gross elements was accomplished with difficulty. Heaven was therefore formed first. That is the sun. The sun was formed first. Here you go. Let me underline that. That's a code. You got to know these code words. This is how they tricked us. This is why they want to control all publishing, and that's why they say if you agree to get your book published at Simon and Schuster, they reserved a right to change your words. They reserved a right to change your words, and that's why I've never published mainstream.
Wow.
This statement refers first to the period prior to involution, when spirit and matter were not yet differentiated from the monadic essence in which they lay potentia. This essence on the Atma Buddhic heights contained the prototypes germs of all things that were afterwards to exist. That's in the atomic level. It's a mind blower. Second, the primal elements, spirit and matter, having come into being and become separated, the one from the other, by reason of their different natures of activity and passivity, there was established the interactive duality from which the highest qualities, Elohim, should first arise in the preparation for the process of involution. And so the atom in that sense is also Elohim. I never noticed, looked at it that way before. But just like the planets and the suns are Elohim, meaning enlightened, where the moon is really just a reflection. But
Yeah.
the Elohim is that which is enlightened, and that's why the stars represent what we're supposed to become, enlightened. That's why he told his offspring, Zavram Haim, he said, your offspring will be like the stars of heaven. And that was the other one. The other ones would be like the dirt. And so two different characters.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. In China, there is Cana. There's Cana, China, because it wasn't originally called China. Another word, another supplemental word for an original word, in China, there is a belief in the higher powers, which in the diction of philosophy may mean form and matter. Form and matter. In the diction of ethics, good and evil, which originally would have been sun and moon, and then light and darkness, but it becomes good and evil. But which in the original tongue of religion and mythology are represented as, there it is, sun and earth. Sun and earth. So that's how, and that's Max Muller, Science and Religion. So Max just admitted here, as you've been hearing me say, that it's not about good and evil. He's saying that in the original language of religion and mythology are represented as, here it says heaven and earth, but clearly, because he's got corrupted versions too, but he got the picture that it means sun and moon. Good and evil are depicted as sun and moon, and that's how
Light
they
and dark.
related to it. Yeah, light and dark, right.
Yeah.
Simple. It's simple. And so that's that definition right there. And then what do we got? Two more. Oh, we got more
There's
on
a
heavenly.
question.
Yeah, okay.
Um, with the yin and yang, which one? What? which one's which? Like which one's black and which one's white with the yin and yang?
Well, it was saying right here that what it was saying here was yin means in and yo means yang, and so
Yeah, but you know the
we're
little
not
symbol thingy, the black and white?
well. Okay, yin. You see the in the duality in each aspect of yin or yang. You remember the yin yang symbol.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
thinking of. I'm picturing the symbol, and then
okay, are you able to go to my? I have a yin yang symbol. Can you do a? Can you pull up a yin yang symbol on the screen? Do you think you can do that real quick from the internet? Um, I think I have one on
possibly.
my website. You look for one, and I'll see if I can find one on my radio network.
Okay,
Because
I'll
if I'm
race
going
you.
to talk about it, it'd be good to look at it. Okay, so that way it answers the question.
Okay, I'll look it
Um,
up first, and then I'll go to the desktop. That's what I'll do.
all right, all right, yin yang. Where would it be? Under wisdom? Maybe under wisdom. Not there. Not there.
I know you've got one in your dictionary, but it's
Yeah,
probably
just
quicker
find one.
just to Google.
All right. And by the way, my website for anybody is it's an old I call it a radio museum, therealpublicradio.net. Therealpublicradio.net. You keep talking for a minute. I got to check that air conditioner. I don't know if it's doing something. Right back.
Okay. You're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles. um, Desert will be right back. Um, all links and information are in the description on all the live streams. Um, so if you want to get hold of the PDFs, any size
Okay.
donation, I'll just keep going for a second, Desert. Sorry.
All right.
Any size donation would be greatly appreciated. We don't have any funding for what we do, um, and we're doing a lot of work. um, and it's because we love it and we want to share this message. But yeah, any size donation will get you Desert's PDFs. There's the real Da Vinci Code etymological dictionary, um, which is absolutely brilliant. It helps you see and read it for yourself. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And also a sample of the original gospel with a more up-to-date version of the dictionary at the back of it. And also the Book of Wisdom, which is a brilliant read. Yeah, I say this every time I talk about it. It's my go-to book. When I have no one to talk to and I'm struggling, I go to that book and I just open it randomly, and the answer or what I need to hear, like it's always there right in front of me every time without fail. And if you can't afford to donate and you want these PDFs, we will get them to you anyway. And just go to the description. All the information is there under a nice long list of links that I have there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back,
We,
Desert.
yeah. Did you know that I sent you the yin yang? Yogineer found it, and I
Oh,
sent it to
okay,
you on
because I've just
Skype.
got the desktop up now.
Oh, can you got it on Skype? Can you go to your Skype and get it, or no? Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
maybe.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I'm
Uh-huh. All
just,
right.
sorry, I'm multitasking. There we go. Um,
Uh-huh.
okay. I don't know how to make it bigger. This has changed. It's different. It's changed. What have they done to it?
No, you got a
It's
single
different.
graphic already sent on Skype. Can you do that?
I've got the
You're
desk.
doing it. Go
I've
ahead.
got the
All
desktop
right.
going at the moment.
All right.
There we go.
Okay.
There's a picture. Um, yeah, will that do?
Yeah, well, that'll work. That'll work. We don't have to have it
Yeah.
separate.
Uh,
Okay, now we're offline. Now it's saying we're offline.
really?
Oh, no, I'm back on. Okay, back
Okay,
on.
I've got too many
Okay.
pages up. I'll get the other one going in the OBS.
Well, you
Um,
see, if you just took the graphic Skype and
yeah,
closed these websites,
yes, I
because that's
can.
going to drag you.
Yes, I can. I'm just getting off the
I just went
desktop.
offline again. Okay.
Okay, I'm just getting rid of. I'm just closing some pages.
Okay,
Um,
Jet. Thank you for the audio check. Yeah. Well, it went in and out twice now on me, and I just know that she's getting stress on her computer.
okay, it
We'll
says
just do
stream
the.
complete. Hopefully, it will come
No, we're still
back.
streaming. It's still good here.
There's a delay. Oh no. Um, I just refreshed and oh,
We're still streaming.
it's okay because it's doing what it wants to on this end. Um, my stream has ended. Oh no, it's coming back.
No, it's still doing it. It's still streaming.
I can see the chat,
Right.
but I have no picture.
All right.
Okay, I've got to. It's coming back. It's trying to come back. In the meantime, I'll have a look. Um,
Yeah.
at
Okay. And
this.
just to remind people that on Saturday we'll be we're going to do a later broadcast on Saturdays because um, there's some engineering that needs to be done, and so I'm going to dedicate the earlier part of Saturday for that engineering work, and then we'll be broadcasting most likely probably around 7 p.m. Eastern time. 7 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Okay, 7 p.m. That's 4 p.m. West Coast
7
time.
p.m.
Yeah,
Saturday. I'm just
yeah.
thinking. 9 a.m. Saturday for me. Okay. Yeah, that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right.
It's not the middle of the
Or
night, so
yeah.
I don't
Uh,
know. Either way, because of different time
yeah.
zone. Either way,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. So Jed, I know that, but it helps to look at it. We got to look at the symbol. Are you not able to get that symbol off the Skype?
I'm doing it now.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
just very slow.
Oh, okay.
My computer
Well,
says
we should
working
have
on
just
it.
kept a website up then. I didn't know it was going to be that
Yeah, but that's what cut the
difficult.
stream off. Having too many
All right.
pages open.
Yeah. Okay.
I've just yeah, I'm just filing it away so I can put it in the OBS. So anyway, yin and yang. Um,
Right. Well, the point is that both are yin and yang. In other words, just like male has a female, could have been a female, and has the female hiding within him, just like the testicles are the ovaries in a woman, ovaries in a woman are could have been the testicles in a male, and so what is external on the male as a sexual organ is inverted um, inwardly on a woman, just like a man has breasts, but they're just represent the mountains, whereas the woman has the breasts and they represent the volcanoes and give life. They represent the mother's the mother's nutrient to feed the baby. And so we have both male and female. Therefore, we are, even though we're in the fall of the darkness, we are still a creation of light. We are fallen creation of light, and we have to put on the true light that gave us being. The light willed, and then there came forth a creation. And so the to say, what was the original question? Which one is
which one is which?
light
Yeah,
and which one is darkness, yin and yang,
yeah,
right? Okay, so I got a black screen. Are you still pulling it up or
yeah.
what?
I'm working on it. I filed it
Okay,
away and I'm trying to find it.
all right. So so the so so let's look at the word yin, as it sounds like means something within, and then yang, as we it sounds like it means far away. The So yin is near, yang is far, and so what is far away is the sun, in the picture. It's up there. It's far away. How do we get there? 94 million miles. And so the sun is yang, but yet it is yin. It is within us. Okay, but it's hiding, and therefore we have to discover our true nature and the light. So just like with religion, religion is presented to us as being good and benevolent and pure, but then we find out within that light, that's the teardrop of the white, right? But we find hiding within what is presented as being white,
Is the
we find some
dark.
in the
Yeah.
darkness, right? And that which we all are determining to be of darkness, very often, then we find in that what it was containing is the light. And so there's the mixing. You see, the
Yeah.
two teardrops
Yeah.
are spinning, and they're constantly mixing, and so it has to do with sifting. So what is far away is also what is within, and what is within is also without. So they are both. You can't you can't have one without the other in this creation, right?
Wow.
You
Cause
see?
yeah, cause
But
it's better looking at the picture now because when I was picturing it in my head at first I forgot about the two uh dots in there representing what you just explained.
yeah,
And yeah, so yeah, thank you. Thank you,
right. And that
Eugenie, for sending me the picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so we can see the word ang, A-N-G, as in the word angle in yang. And so, when you go angling, you're fishing, you're an angler, you got the line in the hook. And but yang, there we see the word Yankee. Okay, the way you could see it is in the word Yankee, right? Because a Yankee goes on a ship, right? He's Young K. He's Young K. He's going toward. He's following the fire. The K is the fire. The Yan K. And so the Yankee is the sailor, and so he goes away, far away, and that's why you can know Yang means far away, and then Yin, as you hear the prime element being in, something that's close to you, within you, right? So there's your two
In.
extremes, one far
Yin.
away,
In.
Yin, in, yeah, huh? It'd be
Uh-huh.
properly spelled Y-N, no I, just Y-N. It's Yin, and then so yeah, that's the essence of that basically.
Thank you. Because
Right.
I never ever looked into it before. Like I just um saw it as duality, saw it as a representation of duality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just so there's no the only way we can get the clear distinction is within Yeshua, because we can be in the absolute light, but while we're in Yeshua, I mean, the objective is to go back to the absolute light, but while we're in Yeshua, what do you get when you mix the gray and the white? The black, I already said it, the black and the white. You get the gray. You see, because
Yeah.
the gray
Yeah.
is where we're in the middle, and in the middle we're in Yeshua, because we're sifting, we're putting on the light of perfection, and so we still may, while we're embracing the light, find that we have a little bit of the dark uh, past within us, the things that we want to be set free from. And so that's why we're in a covenant relationship with him. He's wanting to bring us back to the Father of light, which it says that in him is no darkness at all. And so since there's no darkness in him at all, the only way we can go back to him is to put the darkness out of our life. We have to put the darkness out, and so we cleaned ourselves out, we cleaned ourselves up, and then we have nothing left but the light. We got rid of all the darkness. And so then it says, what does it say? That death no longer has dominion over you, if you have separated from the darkness. The darkness represents death, and sin is represented as having your eyes closed. So if you're walking around with your eyes closed, you can't be alive. You must be dead. And so once your eyes are open, then you see things clearly. You put on the light, and you go back to the light. And so darkness will no longer have dominion over you. It's a total distinction. Whereas in religion they're teaching, that, well, no, you're always going to be a screw up. You're always going to, do things that are wrong. But yet the scripture says that it's not the putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a pure conscience that saves us. It's the pure conscience of knowing that we have done all to serve the great Father of Light, and have put and are not engaged in the things that are unlawful, to do. Okay, so but the religion, as that yin and yang symbol shows, got a little bit of light and a little bit of darkness,
Yeah.
and they say you're always going to have a little bit of darkness. Well, wait a minute, the scripture says that in him is light and no darkness at all.
Yeah.
So I'd rather trust what the scripture's saying than what somebody is saying out there.
Me too. Me too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow.
Don't put your trust in man. Put your trust in the scripture,
Yeah.
and
See, I
confirm it.
never thought I'd be sitting here saying that. A year ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would be sitting here saying that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you.
Right,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Mhm. Yeah, it's great to have people, seeing things they've not seen before, because that's what we have to do. We have to see things we have not seen before and put on that light. And I'm kind of losing my voice today for some reason. Ninja, I don't know. We could take one more break. I'll try to do one more a
Okay.
symbol, because it was relative to what I read in the books of the dictionary on symbols and myths. I wanted to go into the book on the dictionary on symbols real quick. It was relative for the comparison. So let's do one more short break. I'll come back and I'll try to knock that out, and then we'll be done for today. Okay. Want to
Okay.
welcome any new friends that are out there. Always happy to share and be with such great friends that are toughing it out with us here on planet Earth.
Yeah. It makes it all worth it. I love it. I love doing this. Yeah. Okay. All right. I've found a music break. We'll go. Okay. We'll be right back, guys. Please stay with us. Uh, and yeah. It's amazing. You just won't hear it anywhere else. Not like this. This is the pure truth. Right here. Um,
Esoterica 101.
yes, yes. Thank you, Desert. Okay, we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, welcome back. You're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with NinjaCat 111 and Desert-Owl from the Forbidden History series. We're both on the screen right now. I love it. I love it. It's so cute. Um, and yeah, sorry, Desert. I was just reading Jet's comment. I need an owl for my kittens. Anyway.
I thought, yeah, I'm not available. Sorry, but that's okay. It puts new meaning on "I am another you." You know, I was watching these birds outside my window, and I feed them, uh, and um, and then they all flock in, and I realized that not one of these birds, they all look the same. They all look identical.
Yeah.
They're the tiny little ones, you know, and I scare the bigger ones away so the little ones can not be intimidated by them. But I realized that they all look the same, and neither one of them has a name. You know, they don't call each
Aw.
other by a name. You know,
No, they don't.
they
Yeah.
just make a sound towards each other, and so they fit the true bill of what it means to say "I am another you," because they all look the same and they are a symbol of each other. And so
Wow.
that's what we are. But yet we see so many differences at times within our qualities in our world that we then all of a sudden don't realize that I am another you, and we think ourselves as being somebody totally different and even worth picking on or beating up, because you're not me. Well, we
Yeah.
are you. I am you. You are me. And because we are all made in the image of the divine, and therefore that's what's being denied. Just like these wicked on earth, they literally hate their creator. They hate the one who made them. How in the world, when didn't make yourself, and you're being put here by a divine order, and now you hate. Okay, so you hate the one who made all things, and you hate everybody else as well. You know,
And
rather
then
interesting position.
think that they're going back to the light. Um, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
anybody who thinks partially deep, knows that that's a big lie.
Yeah.
They're going back to further turmoil somewhere in their nature. That's all they're going to have. So it's tragic. Okay, why don't you put that Mount Whitney back on? I really enjoy looking at that photo.
Okay, I'll find it.
Is that a piece of cake?
Yeah, I'm just scrolling. It's
All
here
right,
somewhere.
all
Yep.
right. And so we're in the dictionary on of symbols, and the one that came out of Spain. They translated it into English, and we're going to talk about the garden. It's a real short definition, and so the garden is a place where nature is subdued. Okay, and well, if we're talking about the metaphorical garden, it's just Earth is a garden in itself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The Earth. That was the thing that I remember when I first saw it, Ninja. It was like, as everything unfolds, and so at one point you see it for the first time. And so when I saw it, was when I was moving away from construction. I was living in Texas, and I decided to get a job driving truck, and so I got my first long haul, so to speak. I did local
Yeah.
driving first, and then I got from the Galveston Bay going up to where I lived up to Boulder, Colorado. Then from there to La Paso, Texas, right on the Mexican border. And so I was out for 2 weeks and didn't go home. And that was the first long haul I did, and was just the guys were having fun just shuttling me here and there. So I was enjoying it for the opportunity to see some beautiful country
Yeah.
again
Yeah.
and
To
go up to
explore.
Colorado.
Yeah.
As I went up to Boulder. Wow. And then so anyway, so coming down from Boulder, Colorado, to all the way to Laredo, like a straight shot, practically dead south. And rather than take the interstate, I took the straight route, which took longer because it actually, even though it's a straight line, actually a lot of stop and go and everything. And so I drove through this valley. Well, the first thing that happened was uh, I went through Amarillo, and then I think I went through Amarillo. I'm trying to remember now. But anyway, yeah, because I was going through. That's right. I was going through central Texas, the way it was going, and I went through Amarillo. Then and real tragically, I had just passed a car that drove over to the bridge that night and was upside down. They already had some people there
Oh,
that were attending to it, but I remember that that car all by itself. Nobody knows how it happened, but it ran off
yeah.
the cliff.
Yeah.
Yep,
I had a
the
similar
overpass.
experience as
Yeah,
a child. We had to stop
mm,
and shine our headlights
right,
on an
right.
accident
Yeah,
car on
so
its own. Yeah. Please
yeah.
continue.
So anyway, so as I'm going through Texas, Texas has a lot of the agriculture. They have farms everywhere, and not to mention ranches in the west, but farms in the farm belt. And so as I'm driving through, getting past Amarillo. This is when it was opening up because Texas is so big. And so I'm looking at all the agriculture, all the fields. And all of us, and of course, on this journey, because I'm deep in my studies. I'm not really a truck driver. I'm just a translator and a scholar, and I'm just happen to be driving a truck right now. And as I'm looking at all of this big open field, the big sky country as they call it, and all the fields, and all of a sudden I realized, I said, wait a minute, we're in the garden. I said, we're in the garden. I still didn't get the difference between Eden
Yeah.
and the lower garden,
Yeah.
because as it says, he took him out of Eden and he placed him into the garden. So if Eden is a garden, well then what garden is he putting him into from Eden? You see, and there's our two gardens. The upper garden is the light, and in the flower of the sun, in the great mystery of the atom, and that's the Eden that's up above, and then the lower garden. So I didn't have it all together, but for the first time I said, wait a minute, the earth is the garden. Where else can you be in this universe, right? In the void of space, and call it a garden other than on earth itself, right?
Yeah. When you look at the
That's the only
planet as a whole, like a picture of
yeah,
the planet, it's
the
all
garden.
green and blue,
And
which
yeah, and
is,
it's the only place we can survive.
yeah, yeah, it's a
Right? The
garden.
only place.
Yeah.
And so that's when I woke up to it for the first time. So as I'm continuing going south and I'm meditating on all this, little did I know, because I should have taken the interstate. I could have been down in Laredo in no time, but being stupid as a truck driver yet, not knowing, that interstates are really the way to go, because it's, nonstop at 70 miles an hour. I'm going through all the pretty country. I'm having fun, and I'm
Yeah.
going through all the small towns, and then, don't you know, little did I know that the next town I come to, after I have this vision about, let's say, 200 miles further south, is a town called Eden. Now I'm driving through Eden, Texas, and I'm going further, and I keep on heading towards Laredo, and then I'm going into these valleys, these beautiful. So south of Eden was this beautiful valley, with hills and all of that, and then I'm just so that's when I woke up to the fact that we never left the garden. Have always been in the garden, and it was hiding from us, and therefore, so what they left was their paradise. They left the state of pure consciousness,
Yeah.
right? Remember, it's by your conscience
Yeah.
you are saved, having a pure conscience. And so they lost their pure conscience in knowing that they did something they were told they weren't supposed to do. Woo-hoo. Hiding behind a bush, hoping nobody notices me. I'm naked now. For the first time, I realize I got a problem. And Eve, do you mind covering that over there? Okay, yeah, thank you. I don't want to look at her right now. And because they were now, tempted by the serpent. The serpent was controlling them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Rather than reason being in control, the spirit, it was the serpent running the show now, and
Yeah.
they knew it, and therefore they were slaves. They were enslaved to
That's
the
sorry,
huh?
that's why I have had that question. Like I still wonder, even though you answered the question recently, when they realized they were naked, was it was it at that exact moment as well that they could feel the elements of this world, like they could feel the cool air or the warm air.
No, No, because they were already in the fall. They were already. It was just the act of the fall was only expressive of the greater fall of creation. Creation is a fall from light.
Okay.
All of creation
Okay.
is a fall. You see, so what they're playing out in their drama is telling a story about the bigger picture, about that creation itself is the fall. Because, in other words, the great light of who is Yeshua, who is Yahweh, the Father, when he makes something below himself, and so
Yeah.
he's the light, and so pure energy, and so what he makes is lower energy below. Just like below us, there's the amoeba. Below us, there's lower creation, right? Other creatures.
Yeah.
So, so we're on a higher order. We're on the highest order in creation, and everything is here to serve us. You know, yeah. So that's all part of the great mystery. Let me read then. Let me open the
Okay.
book now. I just wanted to tell that story um, because the whole aspect of the garden is been lost, and that's why, of course, as we talked about on another program, our private area, we call the pubic hair, is not, although it could have a biological benefit to protect our private area where our bodies are constantly subjected to um, the elements, which would imply bacteria or other things as well within nature.
Yeah.
Therefore, it could have some type of biological protection for us. But
That
nonetheless,
makes
it,
sense.
it is clear. But on the primary instance, it is a symbol. It is a symbol of the garden that is hiding from us, that we didn't see in our entire life, and until finally, because we're hiding it. We're hiding it by covering it, and therefore, but yet it is the symbol of the lower garden. Because when it said there were two trees in the garden, well, the two trees in the most primordial is sun and moon. The tree of knowledge and of light and darkness, is sun and moon. They're both equally symbols of knowledge, both equally symbols of the fall, right? Because the light is coming out, so the light is falling always. Eve is continually falling, but then on the extreme end, the moon is the primary representative of the darkness and the fall. That's why they said son of man, which means son of moon, seed of the darkness, versus the seed of the sun, that's son of God meaning seed of light. And so since we've covered it up, just because we're born into the world, if somebody doesn't tell us who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, and then they're lying to us, well, then we never could get, unravel this mystery unless it's a miracle of Yeshua revealing it. So the two trees, it said at the center of the garden, well, then we're a garden also, because at the center of our garden, and we could also say we are each a universe. We're made up of trillions of cells. We represent the cosmic
Yeah.
creation. And so we are a you're at the center of your universe.
Yep.
I'm at the center of my universe, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's at the center of their own universe. And so we are a tree, we're a universe, and therefore, so at the center of our tree, what's at the center of our tree? Depending upon where you're looking, right? Because we got the brain, we got the heart, and then we got the reproductive zone, right? And the reproductive zone is hiding a picture of the garden. And so since it's hiding, that's why we never got the picture until you heard it here on NinjaCat 111, because nobody's talking about it. Nobody can interpret the meaning of these original thoughts because they are symbols, not literal, but metaphor. And they want to read everything literally, right? It's a snake, it's a tree, it's an apple on the tree. They even give us the picture of an apple, and yet it never said an apple in the book, never.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're now
Yep.
force feeding us their papal bull,
Yep.
you know, instead of giving us the interpretation of the symbol.
Yeah.
So so that's the great mystery. So there's still another garden that's hiding. Even though I was able to identify the earth as the lower garden, where we see the polarities of yin and yang, light and darkness, and yet we can achieve the light consciousness here. The other garden is still hiding. So this garden was hiding from us. Now we know it's a garden, clearly, but yet the other garden is the garden of light, which is up there, which shines down on us. So it's here, but it's there. It's yin and it is yang, right? Yin and yang, both.
Wow.
It's here within, and it's up there shining down on us. And that's the garden of the atoms. That is the light we fell from, and it's a great mystery. And therefore it is a throne, the throne of the sun, and it is the serpent, the great serpent of all creation, and all serpent creation came out of it. So we got to talk the way the ancients talk, because they're the ones who had a better scope on it than we did,
Yeah.
and are telling it in the symbols of their statues and of their iconography.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all
And
right.
once you
So here's a
start to see it, it all opens up. You can see it on every level,
yeah.
in every
It, we're
way. Yeah.
we were only seeing things the way we were propagandized and
Yeah.
lied to. Now we have to see things like we've never seen them before and consider the all.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
and see it as
Perspective.
metaphor,
It's all
symbol.
about
Yeah,
perspective and
yeah.
looking at things from
Mhm.
a different angle. There you go, from a
Right,
different angle.
right. Just like the word mountain, right? Right there, we're looking at the mountain. But what is mountain? All right, let me type it in there.
Okay.
Let me type it in. Mountain is correctly.
I'm waiting for it to pop up in the chat so I
Yeah.
can see it. It's not there yet.
Okay. Moon 10. It is the moon. Because the moon is rock solid. Therefore, they compared
Okay.
that which is up above at the highest point, like the moon, with your 10 fingers. In other words, the 10 meaning the judgment. The judgment is creation. That is the moon 10. You have to climb. In other words, the thing that you can climb with your hands is the moon 10. You see, so they're associating it with being able to climb it. Therefore, it's on Earth, but it's like the moon. It's up there. It's way high up, right? So it's the moon 10, you know. And so
Wow.
the chat says we have the Fantastic Four. Well, we just went down to three, TW, but that's okay, So we got to
Yeah,
record
we
it, and
had
we're
the
gonna.
six pack, but then we had
Yeah,
technical issues. So yeah,
yeah.
Fantastic Four. That's good.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so garden, real quick. The garden is the place where nature is subdued, ordered, selected, and enclosed. Hence, it is a symbol of consciousness. There you go. See, now it's saying the garden is a
Yeah.
symbol, right?
Yep.
We talked about we're hiding the symbol of the garden. Now it's saying the garden is a symbol of consciousness, as opposed, and that's what we're waking up to right now, right? We're waking up to it, as opposed to the forest, which is the symbol of unconsciousness, or that would be the wasteland, the wilderness, the symbol of unconsciousness, where we're attempting to wake up to the paradise, right? We want paradise, and what are we dealing with in the meantime? Hell, right?
Yep.
The suffering, the pain. Okay, so in the same way as the island is opposed to the ocean. Okay, so the forest that you're lost in the forest, right? And on the island, you're lost at sea. You got no connection with the rest of reality. And where are we at here? So at the same time, it is a feminine attribute, because, and that is meaning the garden, a feminine attribute because of its character as a precinct. I have to look up that word precinct, because that usually means the police station is a precinct. So I'm trying to figure that one out. As a feminine attribute because of its character as a precinct. Okay, so a sink is what you're sunk into. So I guess it means where you're stuck. Okay, and we're stuck with the woman. Oh, geez. Okay, go figure. Sorry, Ninja.
Yeah.
Sorry, women.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all
Don't
right. It's
apologize,
it's the
Desert.
metaphor. It's the
No
metaphor. Yeah.
apologizing.
Now I'm putting on the guise of Apollo, right? Okay. All right. I don't want to hide behind the mask of Apollo, because no, I didn't mean to offend anyone. What I meant was, of course, that the woman is creation. We're stuck here
Yeah.
with the woman of
Of
creation,
course.
and
Yeah.
that's what Yeshua was telling us when his feet were being anointed by Mary at the Miriam on his last week, and then Judas begrudged it and said, "Hey, we could have taken some of this expensive ointment. You see, expensive, right? Isn't his creation quite an expense on the Father to create just for us to be here when we're not even worthy of it yet, right? You know what I'm saying?"
Yeah.
And so that's the expense of creation. That's why he said, "This thing that the woman hath done, this thing that the woman hath done will be written about as a memorial for her." But now we're leaving the woman. We're leaving her to go back to the Father of light, the Father of light, which is, Yahweh. Actually, both androgynous, male, female combined, but it's beyond male, female. It's beyond. That's why when we see one creation, Adam, right, he's taken up to the throne of the sun. He's the first made on earth. There's only water and land and the volcanic eruption. And he's taken from the fiery red magma, taken up to the Eden, the throne of the sun, the Adam. And so there's only one, right? But yet when he comes out, when it says he was taken out of Eden and placed into the lower garden, that's when he fell asleep, because he's going through a transformation of state of being from living up there for how long as a spirit. Now he comes down, and when he wakes up, what happens? He's a divided creature. He's no longer androgynous, able to live without food sustenance like we are down here, and able to live for 4 billion years while Yeshua's making everything on earth. He's naming everything on earth. All of a sudden, when he comes out, he's split into the yin yang, and he's the male dominant with the female not dominant, non-dominant, and therefore the smaller creation is the female. So the dominant is the sun, because everything came out of the light, and that's when it said that she was taken out of the side from his rib. No, that's the RAV, the royal star. She's taken out of the side of the royal star. She came out of the sun, but also came out of the side of Adam, who is also the royal star, because he's the one who's on the stage, and he knows how everything is made because he named everything, right?
Desert, I just saw something.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Wow. Duality and mirror image. We are that. Like, we are that. Our body is that. Like, we've got 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs,
2
2
nostrils.
feet. Draw a line down the middle of us, and each side is a reflection of
The
each
other side.
side of
Yeah.
us.
2 ovaries, 2 testicles, 2 nostrils.
I didn't want to go into detail.
Well, we got to talk about it. Why? Think about it, right? It's telling us there's 2 creations,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. We are duality.
2 kidneys. We got 2 kidneys also, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Wow. 2 ears. Forgot the ears. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And 2 halves of a brain.
Yeah.
It's split down the middle. Sure.
Yeah.
It's telling us there's
right
a division.
side and the left side. Yeah.
There's opposing forces.
Yes.
Going on here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay.
So so our body is telling us it's right there in it's yeah. Signs and symbols rule the world, does it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please continue.
All right, and
Wow.
and we do take calls here if anybody wants to join in. Remember, if you have a comment or a question, put my name in all capital letters, and then your comment or question upper and lower. Okay, and we're here to serve. We're just trying to put it on the table for everybody to take the ball and run with it. Okay, and of course they'd want you to think it's a plate and not a ball, but it is a ball. You can run with. You can run with the plate too if you want. I don't care. There's nothing on the plate. So a garden is often the scene of process of conjunction. Let me back up now. I don't know where I left off here. The island, we left off with the island is opposed to the ocean. At the same time, it is a feminine attribute because of its character as a precinct. Okay. And a garden is often the scene of processes of conjunction or treasure hunts. Connotate, yeah, it's a treasure hunt, all right, to find the true garden. Absolutely. And or treasure hunts, connotations which are clearly in accord with the general symbolic function we have outlined. They haven't outlined much here. A more subtle meaning, depending upon the shape and disposition or levels and orientation of the garden, is one which corresponds to the basic symbolism of landscape. Okay, so I'm going to go into the encyclopedia on symbols and look under garden there because I'm not that satisfied with that interpretation. So let's look
Okay.
over here. C D
Cool.
E F G garden. Well, I'm doing it for myself. Okay, first because I'm
Yeah.
wanting, I'm wanting to revisit this since we're having a discussion on the garden.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
in
love
depth.
it. I
This
love
is going
it.
to be a great
Just
for cosmic essence, right?
yeah.
This is going to be a cosmic essence clip.
Yeah.
Okay, so garden under the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Traditional Symbols by J.C. Cooper. Okay, is this was I think done in Germany and then brought into English. Garden, paradise, the fields of the blessed. Well, blessed would be Baruchet, the endowed and enlightened, with a mind's eye for seeing in the night, separated. We're separated from all. We're already a separated people. We're separated. We're separate from all creation because we're not a part of this world. We were only made from the material force of the world, the material, creation. But we are not. We did not evolve. All creatures, all life on Earth evolved, but we were spontaneously generated by the Elohim. Okay, and so the endowed, enlightened, and separated, the better country. Okay, so the garden he's saying here represents in quotes the better country, which countries are misused. So it should be the better land. Country means the counted trees. Original thought, and the abode of the
Really?
souls. The counted trees. That's why
Wow.
the country. Yeah. And the gardener is the creator, and in the center of the garden grows the life-giving tree, the fruit or the flower. Well, there you go. You see how that's the center of our tree is the flower or the fruit. Man is the fruit of the loom, right? He has the ability to plant. He's got seed. He can plant, and the one, and so the reward of him who finds the center. That's the reward of him. There's a reward for him who finds the center. Go figure, right? And the garden is also the symbol of the soul and the qualities cultivated in it and of the tamed and ordered nature. So we have the outer garden, but then inside, hiding within us, we have a paradise, right? We can live without the crown of thorns. We can eat that red fruit that will give us life. The red fruit symbolizing the sun, um, and the sunrise, because the sun originally, remember, was the red ball when it rose, and that's the red fruit coming up. Okay, and in the so the garden is also the symbol of the soul and the qualities cultivated in it of the tamed and ordered nature. Enclosed gardens are the feminine protective principle. They are represent virginity. In the Christian tradition, the enclosed garden is a symbol of the Virgin Mariam or Mary. In Hermetic tradition, the good gardener of life, who brings to fruit the blossom of the new life, is the logos. Well, then that would be the sun, the symbol, the logo. In Inca tradition, the garden of the sun is an imago mundi. It's okay. The image of Mundi is creation as well. So it's an image of the creation. The garden is an image of the creation. Okay, meaning the cosmic creation. And we don't need to read the Islamic here because it's all a phony tradition anyway. Roman enclosed funerary gardens were regarded as the counterpart of Elysium. Okay, enclosed funerary gardens were regarded as the counterpart of Elysium, with earthly funerary banquets held in the gardens representing Elysian banquets. The gardens were frequently planted with vines, both to provide libations and as a symbol of life and immortality. Roses were also planted as signifying eternal spring. Taoist miniature gardens are an earthly copy of paradise. Okay, miniature gardens are a copy of paradise. Okay, so that's probably why we put flowers in a vase. We're trying to imitate the gardenia. Gardenia is feminine grace, subtlety, and artistic merit. And then we can talk about garland. But remember the word garden, that's the thing about the word, we talked about that earlier, because the word was gan and it was gain in the primary sense. But garden, let's get back to the meaning of garden. because just so we don't forget that they're playing word tricks on us, right? Gar, Gar, is war, and Den, Den, is seen in the word din, Din, which means sound. And so literally garden is the sound of war. Sound of war. So that's their idea of the garden, is the sound of war. That's what they love. That's why flower, Flower, is the Flow of war. The flow of war. They love the smell of gunpowder. They love the smell of death. That's their garden. That's what the Vakarest, the Aryan fallen watchers, Vakars, not invisible creatures with wings on their back, but the fallen Aryan race, the offspring of Adam, decided to conquer mankind, so they had to give us perpetual war to keep us busy and keep the population down all at the same time.
Um,
Wonderful plan they have there. What? You trying to jump in?
yeah.
Jump in.
Um, okay. You know how the world today is very, very sick, and just I can't think of a good word to describe it right now. Just it's a sick world. It's a sick,
Uh-huh.
disgusting world. Um,
Psychopathic in a way.
yeah. Uh, did it take time for them to uh, get this bloodlust that they have today? Was it just all about control in the start, and
Well,
as time
yeah.
went on, it
Well, it
just got
starts as a
worse and worse and
microcosm.
worse as they got more power
Right.
hungry,
Right.
more power hungry?
Well, it starts as a microcosm. So we
Yeah,
can imagine that then when they started organizing, then maybe there was a little bit of a disagreement about something, and so because the controllers know that they're the controllers and that the one in disagreement is a peon, they say, okay, grab that peon over there, tie him up to a stake, and let's burn him alive. And so they take the first adjutant and they burn him in front of, and they get everyone to come around and watch, right? And everybody's going to watch this one burn alive, and then they're going to be all put on notice saying, okay, so if you want to disagree with us, then you know what's going to happen to you, right? I mean, that's what they did. I'm constant. I never forget the story about the one out of Fox's Book of Martyrs in Spain. It just stood out because there was a 17-year-old female who was tied to the stake with other men and women, but the young female girl. You know, Everybody can sympathize, with a young lady
yeah,
more easily than anything else because of the innocence and their gentle nature, and the woman carries the aspect of beauty as well, and therefore, so we got the royal families of Spain, and then we got the Vatican Jesuit controlling front, and they decide they're going to go after certain people because they got it. They need to make a statement to everybody else, and so they tie up. I don't know how many men and women, and then the young lady, and so the young lady, and so the queen, the king and queen. Are up in a balcony, sort of like, or up high, looking down on this spectacle that's about to happen, and so the young lady is saying to the queen, please forgive me. I mean, obviously, whatever they're accused of, would be like witchcraft because they crossed the yellow line somewhere. They didn't even know the yellow line existed, and so they're being now accused of, being followers of the devil or witchcraft and being tied to a stake and burned alive. And so the young lady's going, please forgive me. I'll do anything you say. Just please don't forgive me. And so the queen is totally against this. She's totally against what's going on, and that's what Robert Fox was able to convey within Fox, the Book of Martyrs. But because the king and the queen are puppets also, they've got to let the show go on, because if they were to disrupt it, guess what? They might be on the stake, right? Being burned alive.
Yeah.
And so everybody's being terrorized by the controlling secret unseen hand, the hidden hand that's running the world, and that's the priesthood. And so then ultimately, when they say burn somebody at the stake, you burn them at the stake, or you're going to be burned at the stake. Which is it? Well, I think I'd rather burn somebody else at the stake, right, than myself. Who, no, I mean, so the same with the war. So every charade, the next one, outdoes the other charade.
Yeah.
It gets to be a
Yeah.
bigger charade and a bigger charade.
Yeah.
And that's
Until
what's
it
going on.
doesn't
So
matter
ultimately,
anymore.
we
Yeah.
we got to get rid of these other people. So let's go
Yeah.
kill them. All's war is justified murder.
Yeah.
I mean, it blows my mind how these people can go on the field and want to cut other people up, and it's because they control us from the cradle. When you're controlled from the cradle, what do they give us with cartoons?
Yeah.
Violence in
Yeah.
cartoons,
And they
right?
go over,
Uh,
they
uh,
go over there
yeah.
and kill all these people in representation of their country under the um, I haven't got the word at the moment. Thinking that they're doing it for peace, for peace.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel very strongly about it as well. Does it?
Yeah. So
I
so
was
they didn't
I
they didn't
my
go ahead. I'm
parents
sorry.
tried to get me to join the military. They kept
Hmm.
prompting me on and off over the years, and I had no interest whatsoever. They knew that I hated everything about war, and still they would subtly try and get me to join. They even took me to a few training sessions and sign up sessions, and I just flat out refused. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't let them push
Yeah.
me into it. And that was another thing that I'd forgotten. So thank you, Desert. You just wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you would have just been tagged as a dog. Your
Yeah,
dog tagged as a dog, and told to go run against that machine gun nest fool and see if you can make it to the machine gun before it blows you down.
yeah,
That's what they did to. That was that classic movie about the runner who came out of Australia in World War One. His whole life was about to blossom, and then he had to go run against a machine gun nest instead. And as soon as he came out the ditch, he's dead. That's as quick as it goes, because it was all a setup.
yeah.
There is no enemy. They control both sides. That was the thing. In fact, I had the thought earlier today about Rudolf. I think his first name was Rudolf Hess. Remember, there was a German who decided to fly out of Germany to betray Hitler because he was so sick of the war, and then he flew to England because he thought he was going to be able to give them uh, information that would help end the war right away, right? And what did they
Okay,
do with
yeah,
Rudolf Hess? They immediately locked him up and put him in prison and threw away the key, and he was the longest running political prisoner in the world, held in his own private prison in England, right, where nobody could talk to him to find out what was it, Rudolph, that you were going to tell, the British, and what was it that you were going to do to help end the war, and why have you been locked away all these years? And ultimately, then they strangled you in your cell just about 2 decades ago. What was that all about? And it's because he didn't know how the game was played. That the Nazi Germany, as the Jesuits wrote Mein Kampf for Hitler, and Hitler is a Vatican agent. Well, guess what? Britain was also a Vatican agent and working for the Queen, the Vatican, and the Black Pope, because there are no enemies. They were all playing a different role on the chessboard and just playing on us. The game is against us. The war is on us, Toto, as a people. There are no enemies, only pretended enemies in the war games, in the theater, right?
yes, yes,
You see? So
yes,
that's why, Hess was not a good player. He thought he could he was going to do something around the curve and go, help the allies, but they're all allies. They're
yeah,
allies of each other. Ally is the alley,
yeah,
where they're all eyes in the alley,
yeah,
because they're all working for, yeah, the criminals are in the alleys,
yeah.
allies.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it's just an amazing world we have here, Mrs. Smith, and we're just going to have to learn how to make lemonade out of lemons. That's all we can possibly do.
That's what we're
So
doing. That's what we're
yeah,
doing right here. Yeah,
yeah. So I think I've done enough damage against the old world order today. They want everybody to think it's new world order and it's an old world order,
it's
and
old. Yeah,
it's a one world odor. It's an odor that stinks, and we find it most exampled in Freemasonry and the Vatican
yeah,
and all secret societies. In fact,
yeah.
and having it here first, Shelley, that's right. And you can see we got 10 million people listening in right now. It's we really draw them in because the people love the truth,
Yeah,
and
they love it. Yeah, I
that's why
love
we
it.
got
I
four.
love it.
Yeah,
Our four
yeah.
pack love
Well,
it. So
that's the
that's what
irony. You
counts.
see, that's the irony. There's no fire. You can't light a fire under people with the truth, because they can't wrap their mind around it. All the things that I can point out in a dozen different ways to confirm everything that I say. Still, people don't want the truth. They want the fiction. They want the fiction because the fiction is a little more sensational. Oh, aliens are coming in, or you know what I'm saying? That
I
it's
think the
just
truth is more interesting though. The truth is
well, I do.
it's amazing.
It's
Like
stranger than the fiction. That's
we're
what they say, right?
yes we're in like we who'd have thought when we came into this world that we would find out that we are not of this world. We are just we are light in a physical body,
Yeah,
and to get out of this world we need to turn inwards and
yeah,
connect with light to get out.
yeah, yeah.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? We're in a real matrix. I mean, how much? The truth is fantastic, Desert. I love it.
Right. Well,
I
the
love
greatest
it.
fear people
Yeah.
the greatest fear people have is death, because they know that's the end, and they don't know where they're going. And you see, or because or for the Christians, the phony Christians, their fear is also death as well, because they know that they have a conscience that's guilty, that they have not been perfect before the Father of Light, while they've been claiming Him all along. And so you'll see many of them fold when it comes to their death, or they throw away their tradition that they claimed was so important, and they just end up going into other areas of life. But the point is that we're on a time clock,
Yeah.
and we only have so much time to figure out our reality, and therefore the good news, to know the truth is to know that we are eternal beings, but yet our eternal being has to be clothed with the light, and therefore so we have to put on that light of truth, which is not a part of any lie, and be transformed in our thinking, and have the ability to see and read metaphor and symbol, because it is in the metaphor and the symbol that we have to communicate. It's not in literal abstract form, because literal abstract form is the slave mind.
Yeah.
The free mind is one who can interpret things and see things for themselves, and needs no interpreter because they get the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a
Amazing,
work.
Desert. Thank you.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're on a journey, and we're going somewhere, and I know that I'm still doing work on myself, and Yeshua is the one who's initiated it, and I'm wanting to be perfected and purified from this world, and so the same with everyone else, that the work that we have to do is a big one,
Yeah.
and therefore there's no it's not you don't do it in your part time. It's a full time, and it's an absolute. It's a transformation and a surrender to the higher will of the great Father of Light. So we no longer serve ourselves, we serve one another in the great mystery. And we have to serve one another in the great mystery, because if we don't serve one another, then we're not serving Yeshua, because we are Yeshua. We are another Him. I am another you. You are another me. We are all one in the play of the one in the great mystery. We're like birds, and they all look the same. We can't tell one of them apart, and not one of them has a name, because names are also a fiction and an illusion as well in the great mystery, even though they do say something. The names do say something about us at times. So that's the yin yang. You see no name, and you have a name, right? It's both polarities are intertwined within the great mystery. You can't separate them, even though they are separated.
Yeah.
They are and they don't.
You made
That's
me think of
that's
sorry
yeah.
to cut you off. You
No,
made me
sorry.
think of the word alone. Alone is all one.
Right.
Alone,
I'm cut off and I'm not cut
all
off.
one.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's got to be all things, right? You got to be all things, and so that's what this is all about. So it's work, and and that mountain. Everybody's got to climb that mountain that they see in the picture. They got to go there by themselves. They got to climb that mountain alone. When by the time I got behind those accordion, uh, pillars on the left hand side of the big one, by that time I was sitting down and on some rocks and just trying to breathe because I climb. Normally you have to acclimate as you go up to the high mountains, and I just went straight up. Slept at at 11,000 feet in the evening. Then the next day I'm going up to the 14,500 foot level, and I was already under oxygen deprivation. By the time I got up to that very last walk, I had a headache like you couldn't believe, and I didn't even know if I could make it the rest of the way. But I kept incrementally crawling my way up to the very top, and I didn't want
Wow.
to let myself down, and I got
Yeah.
there. So that's the journey we all have to go on. It's another metaphor,
Yeah.
a symbol. We all have to climb that mountain by ourselves, where you're going to be there all alone, starving of oxygen, wanting the truth, and if you can climb that mountain, then you're serious, But if you can't climb that mountain and go it alone, then because that's where you're going to find yourself alone with the truth, because nobody wants the truth, they want the fiction. They all buy into the false narrative because everybody else does. That's the thing. They're just like David Icke, the classic. Everybody bows down. What we started the program with today. David Icke. They love David Icke. Bow down. They all go to the theaters to see David Icke. I mean, come on. He would have to be public enemy number one if he were telling the truth, and arrested or framed or murdered. But no, he just keeps on ticking, and everybody loves him. They put him on television. Oh, he's brave. He must be brave because he's going against the Queen of England and the Vatican. No, he's been promoted by his MI6 handlers, and he's the biggest show going. You know, and so yeah, that's the way to get. Just like Alex Jones, but finally
Yeah.
people could figure out Junior, what's his other name? I think you got it last time. David Icke, or excuse me, Alex Jones was a comedian. He was come on, somebody out there.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know you've mentioned it. I know you've mentioned it, but I can't think.
David Hicks, Bill Hicks. Thank you, Bill Hicks. Yeah, and so Bill Hicks is who Alex Jones was. See, so just like the Beatles, they were being handled by George. What was his name? I can't remember his name now, but he was the one who worked in the mixing board and he helped the Beatles, but he was a comedian. And just like, Alex Jones was a comedian, Bill Hicks, many of the comedians are in the secret intelligence, you see? And so they're props, and it's the same with the handler of Kathy O'Brien, who Mark Phillips finally saved, and she wrote the book Transformation of America. That he was a magician. Her handler was a magician, okay, and a famous one. People knew.
Desert, can
But
I ask a question?
yeah,
Um, have you heard of Donald? Is it Donald Marshall? Because
no,
he no,
no, no.
he. I don't know where to start with him. Kathy O'Brien knew him. Um,
Okay,
yeah, like they were taken to the same places regarding their repressed memories and things. Yeah, and he has some fantastic stories. Yeah, see, Shelley's writing it in the chat now. Yeah, with the cloning centers and wow. Um, yeah, and I'm just trying to remember because I researched it a while ago. Um, yeah, I don't know. Though I saw them both on YouTube around the same time, and I heard both of them mention the other. Yeah,
okay.
they knew each other or they saw each other in the cloning centers and wherever else they were taken. So Yeah, I just thought I'd
All right.
ask. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
country music is also big time, CIA and drug
yeah,
running and all of that.
yeah.
It's all,
He
it
wrote
was
the hit.
like Merle Haggard, who
Yeah,
was a classic Western singer. He was also groomed, came out
yeah,
of prison and groomed by the
yeah.
CIA. So it's just
Donald Marshall
the
was
way
the
to.
songwriter. Like he wrote the
All right.
songs. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, it's a world of illusions, and we have to question everything, and by questioning everything, as Socrates said, the great Socratic reasoning was keep putting questions to something long enough, and you'll eventually get the answers. And so they don't care what the answers are as long as you're asking the wrong questions. So we got to start asking the right questions and looking at things closely. We have to be finite in what we review. So Ninja, with that, I just want to close by saying. I'm Desert Owl telling you out there that if you want to know the future, you need to look for the Forbidden History Chronicles right here on NinjaCat 111 because it's all right here. It's what they didn't want you to know. That what, Ninja?
That we tell right here, does it?
But somebody's got to do it, right?
Yes.
That's what we're
And
doing.
we're happy
Okay.
too. Yeah.
So Ninja, thank you for your great work, and I'll look for us tomorrow. I know we'll see you tomorrow in the evening. Okay, Eve is the darkness when she should have been the light, right? That's how they did it to us. One more time, okay. So
7 p.m. your time, 7 p.m. Eastern
summertime.
Standard Time,
Yeah, that's
US.
likely. Just look for subscribe and look for the notices because they'll be coming out. It'll be posted. All right. And so
Okay.
thank you, Ninja. I'm gonna let you go. Peace and love.
Okay. Thank you, Desert. Peace and love always.
Live forever. Bye
You
bye.
too.
All right.
See ya. Okay. You heard it here first. That was amazing. That was so amazing. My head is spinning. Um, okay, guys. Thank you for hanging in there. And love. I have no Aisha as usual. I love all of you. And be safe out there. Creating light for you always. Um, okay, I'm just going to find some music. Where we go? Uh, I think we'll go with the cat and the owl. I'm just trying to find it. Okay. Be safe out there, guys. See you later.